And we are live. I don't suppose you posted in the Facebook group that we were going live, did you? Surprise!
Nope. I most certainly did not.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is our normal time.
Yeah.
So
No, we still got shit for it. What was it, last week when we went live on Sunday afternoon? So
listen,
you can't do anything right.
we cannot apparently. So podcast directory. Then here's some notes and here's other things. As per usual, I was jamming out to some John Williams.
Nice.
On the way in, set the mood. What am I doing? I was doing something.
I have no idea. No, you can't. Hello there.
No, I can't. What?
That's a good question.
What can I?
I don't know. What were we talking about when we went live?
I have no idea.
Yeah, me either.
Maybe because we were getting shit for being on our normal.
And we can't
schedule.
do anything right. Yes, that's what it is.
Yes, we can't do anything right.
All right, that's good. See, we can think and remember back to 3 minutes ago.
Yeah, allegedly.
Yeah. It took a second, but we got there.
I am definitely on slow motion. So
I'm still recovering from my work week, but we'll get into that.
Over here. Oh man.
Nando.
Oh, the pops.
Mm-hmm.
In all their glory.
Indeed.
Wait, whoa. What happened?
I don't know.
There it
What
is.
are you doing?
Now I wanted to make sure I had those up.
Yes.
Dun, dun, dun.
Luna Girl is on as well. Which is good, because we are reading her 5-star review today.
Indeed. God. It was important. I'm going to add a note to make sure I do this thing. Gone. Just fucking, just.
Something that is part of the show?
Yep. Did the cameras get knocked off?
They look fine to me.
Is that how it usually is? Well, like Star Killer, so.
Actually, no. I
Cut
think
off?
the Star Killers used to be more. They used to be like
That
that.
was mine, maybe.
Other way.
Oh, there's a delay, so I have no idea what's
Well, I'm looking. So no, you're going the wrong way. You're going the wrong. There you go. Okay. All right. But then you're like way out of frame when you do that.
Well, I'm also not in my normal seated position. How about now?
Oh yeah, you're good. Right
Better?
there. Yeah. All right. Looks a little better.
I can't remember. I'm like, cannot fucking remember. It was like, oh, I gotta make sure we talk about this.
Something Star Wars related?
Yeah, actually.
Okay.
That is a little bit better, I guess.
Yeah.
But not really. If anything, it's worse.
Yeah.
It's fine. Whatever. This is a podcast, right?
Yeah. We'll give Kim our best, Scott. Tell her we miss her already.
Yep.
And we were going to read her review as well.
Indeed.
Drinking some Screwball today. Though I think I'm going to switch to beer here pretty soon.
Oh.
Oh, what did you do?
I touched the overly sensitive button.
We're talking about the monitor, right?
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
I'll talk about it. I'll talk about it on the show. And no, you didn't.
Context.
Yeah.
Context
No,
is king.
you did not. There was some act of God that happened when my wife came home, and then suddenly one of the circuits tripped, or the power tripped outside while I was in the middle of a Call of Duty game.
Oh.
And yeah. I'm like, maybe I should stop playing video games now. Maybe it was just an omen to stop at that point.
Did
I
you
was
stop?
playing like ass. Oh yeah, I did. I was like, I'm just gonna leave the Xbox off. What the fuck was it, Dave? Jesus.
Something about the reviews.
No.
Maybe
I
something about
brought
your
that up
toast.
already. No.
Something
that
about the
one's an
pops.
easy one. No. Ah!
Something about Ahsoka, the book.
No.
How we're talking about doing that soon.
I'm ahead of that game. I've already finished the book
Yeah.
twice. So. Scott Rasmussen message retracted. Whoa.
What was that all about?
I hope you retracted the message and it wasn't some YouTube bullshit.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised.
All right, let's just if it comes back to me, then
Something about the Escape Pod boys being on Podbelly?
nope. I put that in a note.
Yeah.
I already got that. So
Then
fuck
I
it.
don't fucking know.
Yep. Thanks for the effort, but
How do we sound, by the way? Well, how do I sound? Dave always sounds fine.
thank you.
You need to stop. Anyway, how do I sound? Because my levels are always fucked up. So I think what I'm gonna try, if I can remember, like every 30 minutes, just reset my.
Really?
Yeah. I think I might have to just get into that habit. And it might be time to fucking go Office Space on this mixer.
That would be fantastic.
Yeah.
And take video and then overlay baseball bats instead of baseball bats. We'd put lightsaber graphic on it, with the sound effects and everything.
That would be
and
great.
a gangster rap. That'd be fucking great. Big Lovin' says both sound good.
All right.
So we might as well get started while it's still.
All right. Let me just verify the audio is recording. Yep.
Reverb is off.
Oh boy, that
hasn't been a
It's
thing.
a nice little throwback. Oh man. Oh, that damn reverb. Almost ruined episode 2, I think it was, of the show. 2 or 3.
It did. It took us a minute to figure it. I think it took you 2 episodes to figure that out.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah. Why do we have an echo? All right. Oh, note about the escape pod. Escape pod. Can I do this? Let's see. No.
Just click in it.
I'm trying.
There you go.
There we go. All right. That'll remind me.
All right.
Shit.
What are you
I
doing?
don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. All right.
Are you warm enough?
I'm getting there.
Jesus Christ.
I hate the cold so much.
Yeah, so do I, but what the fuck, man? I turned it down.
All right.
So it's fine. It's not like it's 20 degrees outside. It's actually made it into 50s today.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
Not that I saw any of it. I think I spent 15 minutes outside.
Yeah. Same here.
Sad
No,
face.
I don't think I even spent that much time outside.
However long it took you for get
Yeah,
from this
to go
part of
Just a couple of back and forth runs between here and the house. All right. We good?
Yeah.
All right. Let's do this. 30 seconds of silence. Your toast starting now.
To Dave Filoni.
Dave Filoni. The man who should be the next president of Lucasfilm.
So I bring him up because this isn't actually, it's not just about Dave Filoni, because we may have raised our glasses to him in the past.
I'm not sure if we have, honestly.
I don't feel like we have, but
Yeah.
I
Deserve it, though.
I genuinely think that his what we're seeing now, like we're as talking about the Clone Wars,
Mm-hmm.
these last episodes that we're going to talk about today,
Yeah.
were really fucking good.
Yeah.
Like, I have to apologize to our listeners that have been telling us for so long to watch the Clone Wars.
So you're still at my thunder here because I was basically going to say the exact same thing at the end of the episode
Yeah,
today.
like if we had started where from what season 5 is, honestly, the mall stuff and everything else, but like season 5,
Mm-hmm.
right, for me has been like, this is no longer a fucking kids show.
Yeah.
Like, and Filoni, it was just really really good. I found myself like having a much deeper understanding of Star Wars and the characters during the prequels
Mm-hmm.
so much better
Yeah.
because his fucking genius.
Yeah, and
So-
it's funny too because I wonder at what point was it around season 3, 4 where it went from Lucas being more hands-on to it being more controlled by Filoni?
I couldn't tell you.
Because it seems like there's a huge tonal shift.
Excuse me.
From the first couple of seasons. Obviously,
Yeah.
we tore the first 2 seasons to shreds for how
Yeah.
shitty a lot of those episodes were, but it definitely feels like there was a tonal shift from the maturity level to the effects to just the story and everything.
Yeah, and we're gonna obviously delve deeper into it, but just for how I felt after I watched these episodes for the pod for this taping,
Mhm.
I just was like, this guy deserves it,
Yeah.
and fucking yes.
And yes, again, to reiterate what Dave said, for all of you guys that have been telling us, especially the Bronco Fets of the world and everybody else, you were right, we were wrong, you're stupid, we're smart, you're the best, we're the worst.
I think he inverted one of those in there.
You're
but
good.
We'll go with it.
You're good looking. We're not attractive.
Right.
So,
As long as we know that now.
yes. So you guys were right. That being said, hello everyone, and welcome back to All Things Star Wars, the greatest Star Wars podcast in the galaxy. I'm Mr. Jason Roscom. With me here each and every single week, the Darth Vader to my Palpatine, Dave Martin. Hello, Dave.
Hello, Jason.
How are you?
I am tired. I'm
Yeah.
so fucking tired.
Really?
Oh
Even
my
though
God.
this is like, well, you weren't off Friday, were you? You had
No,
to work on
I
Friday.
was not.
Okay.
I worked on Friday.
Yeah, I was off Friday, so
Yeah.
this is my 3rd day off in a row, and it's been glorious.
I'll bet it has.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to not having to go to work tomorrow.
Yeah.
Not that I have a fucking balls deep worth of fucking homework and shit to do because I've been basically an invalid all goddamn weekend.
Do they have classes on Precedence Day?
They do not.
Oh,
So
okay.
I have to make up that class on a Thursday night.
Oh, fun.
Wah wah. So, hooray.
Okay. Anyway, so in the middle of doing homework, what are we talking about this week?
Oh my god, we're continuing on the Clone Wars must-watch episodes. What are we
Yeah.
calling it? The
essential episodes.
essential episodes.
Yeah.
So appropriate. Well, we'll talk about it. This is for us our 4th episode of the Clone Wars Essentials.
Yes.
Our build up, our lead in,
Yes.
as it were, into the premiere, which is in a week and a day.
Less than that. Season 7, it's this coming Friday, the 21st.
I thought it was the 24th.
Negative. It's the 21st. I just looked on StarWars.com, the official source for all Star Wars news, and it is indeed the 21st, because for some reason I was thinking it was like the 17th. Like, I thought it was tomorrow for the
Right.
longest time.
And
I think they changed it, honestly. I think there was one point where they said it was the 17th, and then they...
I'll go with that.
and
That's
they,
fine. Oh yeah,
okay.
look at this. Right as soon as I brought up StarWars.com, closing in 3 seconds is Disney Plus, Star Wars The Clone Wars, final season.
Yeah. So technically, this is our last episode before
Right.
the new season debuts.
God, we should have started this like a week earlier.
There's a
excuse
lot
me.
of things we should have done, Dave.
But
but
this is factually correct.
Yeah, we're trying to course correct as much as possible.
We've already acknowledged
we're
the
hard
people
over,
that are going
all
to
right?
acknowledge.
The rudder's hard over. We're trying, all right? So we'll see. We'll see if we hit that iceberg. But yeah, it's this week. We have to talk about, too, by the way, how we're going to do our premiere review. I think we could probably do a combined episode of the premiere and then the final arc in these essential episodes, kind of merge those into one episode. Regardless, I am not going to be here next Sunday, so we have to talk about that.
All right, we will talk about that.
I'm going
Probably on the air,
yes,
but not right now.
because this is what we do. All right. Well, what else do we have to talk about?
I don't know. Podbelly
Yeah.
and Patreon.
Yeah.
Are you going to do Patreon first, or I'm going to do Podbelly first?
Well, you already said Podbelly, so let's talk about Podbelly.
Podbelly.com. We are proud members of the Podbelly Network, your source for all your podcasting needs. I think that's the tagline. I don't know. They really should. I should have a reader
You
for
should.
this.
Well, no, they should make a reader based off of your promos every week because, quite frankly, you're doing a pretty goddamn good job.
Oh,
Like
well,
probably better than any of these other podcasts on Podbelly.
Probably.
I'm pretty sure All Things Star Wars is the #1 promoter of Podbelly.com.
Hence why we're the #1 podcast on the Podbelly Network. By benefit of the fact of the alphabet. However, we're still #1.
Goddamn
So
right.
go to podbelly.com, and I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up that our friends, the Michigan contingent of the Galactic? Wow, this is going to be great. Like,
oh boy.
I have not imbibed any alcohol. I basically dipped my lip in this,
Mm-hmm.
and I already cannot communicate like a normal human being. So, anyway, I would be remiss if I did not mention the Galactic Caravan, the
Refugee Caravan.
Thank you.
Yes.
For fuck's sake, help me out here. God, I'm drowning over here. The Escape Pod
Yes.
is now a proud member of the Podbelly Network.
Fucking A.
And if you go to podbelly.com, you're not going to see them on their splash page. Might be something to bring up with with Brent and those guys, but you can find them. If you go to listen and then go to the podcast directory, they are the 3rd podcast listed.
All right.
The Escape Pod. The only thing I'm disappointed in with these guys, honestly, they somehow managed to make a fucking Michigan.
I knew you were gonna
incorporate
say that.
like a Michigan M onto the Empire logo. I mean, come on.
I personally think it's brilliant.
Yeah,
Good job, guys.
whatever. Yeah, you know why it seems like it's bleeding? Because that's what Michigan fans do.
Oh, and apparently Used and Abused is also listed in the non-network member section.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know there was a thing.
Yeah.
The non-network member section.
So I really need to pull some strings with Brent and get both the Escape Pod and Used and Abused
onto the. Oh yeah, hey look.
Upper echelon.
If you go to page 4 on the podcast directory, you will see the Used and Abused podcast. So,
sweet.
Hey,
The whole family's there.
the whole family is there at podbelly.com. Go to podbelly.com, support all the podcasts that are listed there, and make sure you give them 5-star reviews just like you would give to us, which would have been a great segue into something else, but we're going to do Patreon after that. Consummate professionals that we are. Go to palbelly.com.
You fucked it up.
Fucked it up royal.
All right. So speaking of support, we just want to give another quick shout out to all of our supporters on Patreon. Everybody who's supported us up to this point. Tony Ferrari, Camille Donovan, Nick Jackson, Frederick Martin, Big Lovin, Scott Rasmussen, Tactical Swede, Don Solsky, Shotgun Mark, and Avery Morgan. Thank you, everybody, for your support. You are the reason why we do this. And if you want to support the All Things Star Wars podcast, go to patreon.com/ATSW podcast. We keep saying we're going to rearrange the reward tiers, but we haven't yet because...
This is wee shit.
Well, see, I try to make it sound like you actually have any say or, effort in any
Says
of
the
this.
guy who was supposed to get me the login information so we can make sure we're on all the available podcast networks with iHeartRadio and the Spotify and all that shit.
But you didn't ask.
I did ask.
I don't recall this.
I believe we could play it back.
Well,
Anyway.
I don't have to listen to you. Hey, so thanks again for your support, everybody. We really, really appreciate it. So, 5-star reviews. Great
Yes.
segue.
Yes. Speaking of appreciation,
Yes.
I
And it is the policy of the All Things Star Wars podcast that if you leave us a 5-star review on iTunes, we will read it verbatim on the air.
Yep.
So whatever you write, we will read it word for word. So, Dave, what do we got?
our first new 5-star review comes from Kimberly Rasmussen, co-host
her.
of the Used and Abused podcast.
Mm-hmm.
which you can find on podbelly.com.
Yep.
No specific voice or anything, so I'm just going to go ahead and read it. Awesome Star Wars Podcast, period. I like that, too. It's like Awesome Star Wars Podcast, like, period.
Yeah.
Like, no exclamation point, just period, because it's the fucking truth. Watch the show live on YouTube. Enjoy Dave and Jason's banter, including Dave's rants and busting Jason's balls over Jimmy G. That would be the quarterback, pretty boy Jimmy Garoppolo.
All right, football's over.
This is your adult-oriented Star Wars talk since most grew up with the original trilogy. Handshot first, greatest podcast in the galaxy. Keep up the great work, guys! Exclamation point. Thank you, Kimberly Rasmussen, for your support and your 5-star review. And please, more 5-star reviews.
Yes.
All you Google people that don't have the ability to leave a review system on a podcast for Google, find somebody with an iPhone and fucking log in.
Yes.
Just do it. What's that? Should be has not had. Scott, so Kimberly's husband Scott, the other host of the Use and Reviews podcast, is in the chat, and honestly, I may have read it wrong.
Yeah.
So she might not have wrote it wrong. I may have read it wrong. So, being the consummate professionals we are.
Mm-hmm.
Next. Finally. ... This is a 5-star review from Lunar Girl,
Ah, yes.
who is also in the chat. Hello. Finally, a podcast for Gen X geeks and nerds. Started off listening to a few episodes in 2019, and I'm totally hooked. These guys are not afraid to tell it how it is. The most perfect blend of education and entertainment for non-sensitive types. Put the kiddos to bed, grab a beer, and enjoy listening to these guys. That's a perfect review.
That might be the best single review we've ever gotten.
Yes.
And it's accurate. 100% accurate.
Yes, it is that. Put the kids to bed. Don't play this at work. Zero fucks given.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for the 5-star review.
Now, here's a question. She brings up an interesting point. The podcast for Gen X geeks. Do you consider yourself a Gen Xer? See, I always imagined Gen Xers were like the seniors in high school when I was in middle school. That's kind of what I always envisioned was Gen X. I didn't think I was. I don't know.
I think technically we are.
Yeah, I don't know. I've had people try to tell me I'm a millennial. I'm like,
oh, you can go fuck yourself.
Yeah,
you can go fuck right off.
Yeah.
Hang on.
But yeah, it's interesting because I've never considered myself to be in like the Gen X generation. So
let's look at this Gen X age range.
Okay.
Ready? So boomers were born between 44 and 64.
Okay, boomer.
Gen X was born between 65 and 79.
Fuck, that's us.
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
So yeah, Gen Xers.
Yeah, we're at the tail end of the Gen X. At least I
right.
am.
Well, yeah, I'm like right smack in the middle of all that, but yeah, that's us, the Gen Xers.
Nice.
So, and again, I was talking about it. I brought it up on a podcast last week about how we're our original trilogy and how much we were like, oh god, the prequels were terrible. Now like the millennials and the Gen Yers are going like, oh well, the Rise of Skywalker and the sequel trilogy is garbage because now the prequels are the tits, and I'm just like, I just Jason sounds quieter. Jason, you sound quieter.
For fuck's sake.
Thank you for letting us know. You're just speeding along the untimely demise of this mixer at some point. But yes, thank you for the 5-star review. You know what? I don't even really give a shit. Like, even the millennial thing doesn't really bother. Like, the whole... This conversation came up with the wife today, right? And, not to get political or anything else, but it really made me think about how we have this internet, right? We have this capability to have all of the information in the world at our hot little hands, right? Right at our fingertips.
Oh, yeah.
And what are we using it for? Like, I would rather know that we're using it to watch fucking cat videos and fucking hello there memes.
Right.
You
Well,
know.
Louis C.K. had a great bit about this. He's like, we have this great technology, and what do we do with it? We use it to send a mean tweet while we're taking a shit.
Yeah,
So,
it is, and it's like you have all the information that you ever could possibly have, and what are we doing with it? We're creating greater divides,
yeah.
and it really made me think. And this is a little bit more ethereal than I really want to get into on for this podcast, but I really think that the Bronco Fett's issuing his opinion on the prequels, which I'm gonna get to about talk about the prequels here as we're talking about the Clone Wars, but
Yeah.
it really makes you wonder, like, has with every media generation that's come out, right? So when the newspapers first came out, like, what was the newspapers used for? It was all about politics, right?
I guess.
About politics and fucking.
I wasn't there. So.
Somebody, somebody using it to their advantage to, like, oh well, this person sucks ass and we are so much better. Like,
Right.
how do you stir revolution and do these things, right? So every time this a new medium has come out has had this type of modus operandi, and we're just in it right now with social media. We have this is the new way to broadcast out and make people feel bad about things, or make really people strongly gravitate from one side of it to the other, as opposed to, like, making informed opinions.
Right.
Like whether it's about Star Wars, whether it's about universal health care, whatever the fuck it is, just people use all this fucking information to just be shitty, just be shittier about things to one another. And I think really what it comes down to, it's the human epidemic. We suck.
Oh,
Humans suck. They fucking, just generally speaking, humans are the worst. They're the absolute worst. We should look at dogs. Look at how perfect dogs are. Dogs are they're perfect beings. Like, why did we ever advance any further than that perfection?
Well, I mean, but you look at dogs in the wild, and there's a different story.
There's no such thing as dogs in the wild.
You've never heard of wild dogs attacking people, mauling
those
people?
are called wolves, and they're not dogs.
So, but no, you make a good point, though, because it goes down to the fact that, deep down, we're all just fucking animals, right? We're all animals who have instincts. And, yeah, this can be a whole other big discussion. But
as much as we're using our platform to fucking shit on the prequels, if that's what you feel like doing, I feel like the older I get, I mean, I'm talking like older by the day.
Yeah.
Like every day that goes by, I get more and more into this mindset of, like, yeah, just I don't want to engage anywhere out there, like, because it's not reality. Like, it's I mean, it's people's perception, and it does make a reality, but Mike's fixed.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Thanks. Was trying to do that without any more interference.
I can stop talking about this now.
Right. So, all right. So, are you done with your?
No, I'm going to get into that a little bit more, because I think the Clone Wars in particular, as we sit here on a Star Wars podcast, right? And we're watching the Clone Wars, and we've talked it before about how the Clone Wars has been, like, generationally, like, kids have grown up with the Clone Wars, and like that's been their Star Wars experience. They were able to watch it at home, similar to how we were able to watch Star Wars on, CBS when it came out, things like that. Like, so their television experience and being able to watch it on a small screen, I dare I say the quality, especially like we alluded to in the toast, the quality of these Clone Wars episodes have been so good.
Yeah.
And a market improvement over what it started as. And so their expectations are going to be pretty high.
Yeah.
So I get it. I get it a little bit. I don't necessarily agree with it. Like that I'm not prepared to give the prequels any more weight than they already have, but I can see that how the Clone Wars and these episodes and the depth of them can kind of make you feel a little bit more invested as a Star Wars fan.
Yeah, no, and I'm really curious to see how they finish it up with this season 7, because it could make us look at Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith in a whole different light.
Yeah.
At the end of it. So we have to get through all of this. But once we get there, once we get to that ending where season 7 becomes Revenge of the Sith, maybe it'll be time to kind of revisit this whole era as a whole, you know?
No, I agree.
So, but cool. We had a little bit of news, not a whole lot of news this week, surprisingly, but one piece that did come out today, actually. This came out, I don't know, about like 6 or 7 hours ago is when this story was published. And that's we talked about either last episode or the episode before, the Colin Trevorrow,
yeah. We talked like
the concept art and
yeah.
all that shit. Well, now apparently the entire script is out there to be downloaded, which I'll preface all of this by saying and repeating what we said last week. Fucking let it go, guys. Be like Frozen, let it go. As far as anybody is concerned, all this is fan fiction at this point. This never got made, will never get made. I don't care how many online petitions get signed, how many people, piss and moan online.
Make more petitions. Hooray!
It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. So just, again, be like Frozen, let it go. There are some interesting bullet points if you scroll through this article that I posted, but honestly, after reading a lot of this, I'm like, I kind of like Rise of Skywalker, which, by the way, this movie was supposed to be called Duel of the Fates, which I'd never be able to get the whole fucking Duel of the Fates song out of my head whenever I heard this title.
Well, that and the fact that talk about going back and making a fan movie, or you're reaching back to something that probably was one of the best things to come out of episode 1.
Yeah.
You're going to make that the title of this movie?
Yeah.
Okay.
And honestly, this movie feels like this is the sequel to The Last Jedi. This is The Last Jedi Part 2 is what this is, based on a lot of these bullet points that I'm reading. And, for you Last Jedi fans, it might be a good thing for you. For me, not so much, because it had, like, fucking Broom Boy in it. It had, like, a shitload of Rose in it. And I'm just like, ugh, God. Really glad this didn't get made. And it's interesting, though, because this is a whole other big discussion we could have. Assuming this is all true. Assuming this leaked script is the actual script and not just some fucking guy out there on the internet who decided to throw some shit together and push it out there.
Whatever he would want I'm
exactly
scrolling through it now.
Which, again, fan fiction is ultimately what this is, regardless if it was actually Colin Trevorrow's script or not. But you can thumb through this at your leisure. You can debate whether or not this would have been a better movie than Rise of Skywalker. But guess what? Rise of Skywalker is what we got. It's what we're always going to have. This is never getting made. Deal with it.
Now, the question I think needs to be asked: would you So we read Blue Harvest, right? So we've read the original Star Wars script in the form of the comic book.
Yes, the Star Wars.
Yeah, the Star Wars. So the novelization that we read.
Oh, I see where you're going with this.
If this came out the same way, would you be willing to read it?
I would read it. If let's say Marvel decided to do this as like an alternate universe or whatever, and they pushed it out the same way that they did the Star Wars. Yeah, I'd read it.
I would too.
As part of a Marvel Unlimited subscription type of thing. I wouldn't actually pay money for the individual issues.
I wouldn't either. I'd probably get the novel, the graphic novel, like the combination of all the what is it called? Yeah, graphic novel, right?
Yeah.
When they put them all together.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I'd probably buy it like that just so I'd have it for the sacred Jedi text.
The sacred text.
So
yeah.
Oh, speaking of, there was a question. I can't remember. I think Big Swede had said something like Lunar Girl had asked him, like, "Hey, what are they talking about with these texts? With these these secretary texts?" I don't know.
Yeah, we can't really swing the camera over. But...
Well, we could. Somebody might get nauseous though, on the feed.
Right.
But over here, over this way, if you panned over, you can kind of see it behind my head.
Yeah.
You see the top of the stack of texts.
Yeah.
This
goes back to about a year and a half ago when I was actually down in Mississippi and Kristen went to a big book sale at the local library.
Right.
And they had a shitload of Star Wars novels, mostly in hardcover. Original hardcover fucking Star Wars, primarily Legends material, but not all Legends, some current canon too.
Yeah.
and she bought them all. She like started sending me pictures. You want this? You want this? I'm like, buy them all because they were like $2 each.
Right.
So I'm
And especially for the hardcover versions of this,
Yeah.
I mean, we gush all the time about the Legends material and
Yeah.
the expanding universe. So there is a probably a 4.5 foot tall, three stacks of books
yeah
that
three
are back here.
three columns, all like 4 feet tall.
And
of
we've got
books.
a couple boxes of the comic books and stuff like that. I mean,
Yes.
this is for the benefit of Jason's collection previously. Then it also has Kristen's add-ins for what she's picked up at Goodwill, and I've thrown some stuff into the pile too.
Yeah. And this is one of those things where we don't really think about it, but for any newer listeners who listen to some of these recurring bits, they're like, "What the fuck are they talking about?"
Nope.
So
there's legitimately this pile of the, like, if we really wanted to go in here to find the source material on something, it's probably in this pile.
Yeah.
And if it's not in there, it's probably on our iPads.
Yeah. And it's funny though too, because thinking from the perspective of a newer listener, like we've got so many recurring bits, things that are just kind of assumed at this point, like knowledge that we assume that our listeners have, that some of them may just be like, I have no clue what the fuck
what the fuck are they talking about?
Yeah.
So yes, we need to come up with some shelving space that's not tied up with pops and more pops and some Black Series figures, but mostly pops.
We just need to buy a new house, I guess, and
There you
just
go.
Make that our Star Wars storage area.
We'll just buy it. We need, all right, Patreon supporters. Need to step up
Buy
the
us a
game.
house.
We're gonna get a whole separate studio, and then we'll have a 360 camera so we can have all the Star Wars.
You know what would be a good candidate is that fucking house right there, that little fucking box.
This
on
one
the corner
over there.
Yeah.
The people that watch us pee all the time.
Yeah. Like, have you ever looked at that house? It's not that big.
Oh, I don't.
Like, it's a fucking tiny, like 2-story box.
Got a nice little porch on the top of it though. Like you go out and watch the trains go by. I guess. I don't know what else you're looking at over there. But.
Yeah, but I mean, I bet we could get that house for like, I don't know, $1.75.
Yeah, this is an area where they're probably price you out of some shit.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Isaac
Sipe has a little over 200 books, and once upon a time you had them chronologically ordered on a bookshelf. That's
impressive.
Most
impressive. So, moving on. Not much else in the way of Star Wars news. I think everything's kind of ramping up for Clone Wars Season 7, debuting on Friday the 21st. So if you go to StarWars.com or even like the Star Wars show and any of that, it's all been like either looking back at old episodes of the Clone Wars, talking about the new season. So that's all that's going on in Star Wars right now. I'm hoping we get an official release date for the Rise of Skywalker home video soon. Because
officially, is it still? I think it's still in theaters. Like if you go to StarWars.com, it says see.
Oh yeah, I'm
seen
sure
it in theaters.
I'm sure there's a couple of random theaters you can find it. Now, granted, it's way at the back burner at this point.
Right.
But history has shown that both Force Awakens and Last Jedi came out on home video the first week of April in those in those years. So we should only be a couple months away.
Yeah. So. Speaking to that, how many times do you think you'll watch it?
So are we talking Blu-ray or are we talking Disney Plus? Because there's two different things here.
When it comes out for home release, however method that is, either via Blu-ray or
it will come out on Blu-ray and digital first.
Right.
It's probably going to be Blu-ray 1 week, digital the next, and then Disney Plus like a month or two after that.
Right.
When it comes out on Blu-ray, obviously I'll buy it. I mean, that's a no-brainer. I'll probably watch it once or twice, and then kind of let it simmer again. And then once it hits Disney Plus a few months later, that's when I'll just like constantly just be like randomly like click it on. Oh, I want to watch this scene right now. Watch it. Because that's what I do right now with Force Awakens and Last Jedi. Like I'll go there and because of Disney Plus and the ease of access, I can just go click, click, click and watch whatever part of whatever Star Wars movie I fucking want right now.
Yeah. I have, again, maybe it's me being like in this old person, the borderline okay boomer shit, right? Oh, now you're warm. Oh, okay.
I didn't want to cause a distraction. Sorry.
There's listening to the soundtrack, and listening to the finale and everything else. Like, there's a part of me that gets kind of We've been on for 50 minutes already?
It's a big preamble. Anyway, squirrel.
Anyway. I shouldn't look at the chat all the time. Um, there's a part of me that's like has this like sadness about it being over.
Right.
And
you predicted that too. You predicted that before the movie ever came out.
But it's actually a lot more profound. I don't know if it's because I'm listening to the soundtrack more and I'm remembering the movie more than I'm actually watching it.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously I want to see it again.
Yeah.
But at the same time I'm like, ugh, God, it's like, do I want to watch it again and like with that feeling? If not, I'm very mercurial sometimes with things like that, right? I'll have like this emotion where unless I have something to look forward to, like, all right, here's the next Star Wars thing that I can like, okay, I watched this. Now I'm watching a new Star Wars thing, so I don't like feel quite so sad about it.
Right.
When like E.T., for example, like E.T. dying in the fucking tents and all that other shit, like it makes me sad. Like, and that's one of the reasons I've talked about on the show. It's one of the reasons I don't really like to watch that movie because even as an adult, the same like whatever reason, that's how my brain processes that.
Sure.
And I was listening to it on the way in today, and Finale actually was the first song that came on in my playlist. And it was the finale for Rise of Skywalker. And it just made me think about, this is the last time John Williams is going to be playing this. This is the last time, and he starts getting into this little like feedback loop and just like, oh man, do I really want to watch this again? Like, do I want to watch this movie and like have this just sadness come over me again?
Mm-hmm.
So, and look, it could speak to a host of other fucking issues that I have, but just, I wonder how many other people are like that though. How many other people, maybe people don't like Rise of Skywalker because it is the end. Maybe they have this hang up, but like, oh, well, this is the end. I'm sad that it's over, so I'm going to hate it.
Right.
Like it's there's probably some psychological thing that's in there. I don't know. It's just me, like on the drive in here. This is just one of those feelings that I had. It's like, I'm looking forward to it coming for home release, but at the same time, I don't know if I'm looking forward to watching it again just because of the emotion that I know is going to happen, which is great.
Yeah.
What's it say for a movie that you're going to have this emotion and you're still willing to watch it? Like you're having it. It's not a negative thing. It's just like, oh wow, this is, it's the finality of it, I think, that gets me a little bit. And maybe I need to stop listening to the fucking soundtrack. Maybe I just need to pump the fucking brakes, stop listening to the soundtrack for like, I don't know, a day.
Right.
Like take one day off and not listen to John Williams.
But he's so good though.
I know, it's so fucking good. Oh God, it's so good.
All right. Well,
anyway,
moving on. So that great segue into our weeks.
Woo-hoo!
So we're gonna start with me. We talked about this last week. The last 2 weeks has been my full work week. Work the weekend, another full work week on the back side of that. So that's all I've been doing. It's been fucking work, And on top of that, I think I also mentioned last week or the week before that I was going to get back on the healthy train as far as both eating right and working out. So, and stop me if I mentioned this already, but about the time that my mom got sick in December, I kind of really dropped off going to the gym and eating right and everything. And it started to show. Like everything kind of went, like my muscles and then all the food that I consumed all went right here into my fucking gut. And it was like, God damn it.
Welcome to my world.
Yeah. So I decided like I was going to get back on it, and I've been sticking to it. So for 2 weeks straight now, starting the day after the Super Bowl, I've been exercising every single day, watching what I eat. I mean, little stuff is snuck in there here and there, but right. I mean, as long as I'm watching it for the most part, then it's all good. But yeah, Kristen did sneak me some ice cream the other day, so
Ooh.
Some homemade,
listen,
homemade coffee ice cream. So
we're halfway dead, man.
Yeah,
we are like at some point you got to be like, I'm gonna fucking enjoy it.
Yeah,
like I'm gonna have a little bit of ice cream because I like it.
Yeah,
and, fucking damn the torpedoes, fuck everything else. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, but again, I've been back to it. I feel great, and I think it's only going to get better as the weather starts warming up. I'll start running outside some more.
Oh,
so
man. Yeah, you put it in the notes like warmer weather being on the horizon. I'm just like, it's this time of year. Like I busted balls in the chat, right? The XFL thing.
Right.
I'm shocked the XFL hasn't been canceled yet. Oh, excuse me. But pitchers and catchers, like I'm a baseball guy, right? So pitchers and catchers reported this past week, and
The boys of summer, right?
I'm wearing got a Phillies hat on. A throwback, by the by. This is the when they won the National League Championship in 2008 for the year they won the World Series, which I think the Phillies are a very underrated team this year. Going out on a limb.
I have no inputs for this conversation.
You don't, and it's you know as much about baseball as you do about college football, which is basically nothing. Now, if Harbaugh somehow had some baseball affiliation, I'm sure you'd throw the hat into the ring for that. But sidebar to this sidebar. Listening to the Escape Pod, our boys in blue, Michigan guys. I just wanted to throw a little shout out to those guys because they gave me some love on their podcast talking about how my knowledge of football and everything else, and I do appreciate that. You know, little pad to my ego. I don't think I went out on any crazy limbs though for my predictions during that game, but I just thank you, gentlemen, for recognizing.
I will not acknowledge any of this.
But anyway, so it's pitchers and catchers reporting to me is like now fuck the groundhog, fuck all that bullshit, because who's going to listen to a rat climbing out of a hole anyway? This is
all you people waiting for a weather prediction from a rat.
Groundhog Day, people.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen it, you should.
Yeah.
But that being said, spring training, baseball getting ready. You know, this is the time of year where it's nice to be able to drive and see a little bit of the sun. You know, we're out of those doldrums where it was like dark going into work and dark coming home. Now there's some daylight at the end of the day, and it makes everything feel that much better.
Yeah,
right?
and honestly, I think that is part of the reason why it was so easy for me to slip out of the the exercising and everything because. Yeah. Like you said, you go to work when it's dark, you come home when it's dark. You don't want to fucking do anything at night. You know, it's just like the whole day is ruined.
Yeah, it's dark. It's time for bed. It's that hibernation thing. It's like there's not enough hours in the day to do everything. So fuck it. I'm gonna come home and go to bed.
Yep.
Yeah, you're in bed at 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Ideally,
consistently for me.
So,
but yeah. And that's the thing too. It's just been for me this last couple of weeks. A lot of work, consistently being back in the gym, and then just praying for warmer weather soon. Yes. I know we had a 50-degree day today and tomorrow. I think
yeah, and
temperatures are gonna kind of go back down, but it's only a matter of time.
Yeah,
we're almost there.
March. We're gonna again, Dave bold prediction, right? I bet you we see snow in March. Because
I wouldn't be surprised.
We've had such a lack of winter.
Yeah.
Right. Big Swede's is a snowboarder, right? So he gets snowboard passes and shit like that, so he can go snowboarding. No fucking snow.
Right.
Like, and listen, I don't know shit a shinola about fucking skiing or snowboarding, but I do know that like when it's 45 degrees in the Poconos, it's really tough to get fucking snow to stick to the ground.
Mm-hmm.
You know, even when they're making it. So. Whatever, but
yeah,
I know there's a lot of people that are disappointed with this winter. I'm, for one, am like, I'll take these winters.
Yeah, I'm good
as long as my heater's not fucking breaking.
Yeah. So, but anyway, that's my week in a nutshell. Like, it's really hasn't been much. So, what about you?
I'm work, then homework, then work some more. I've been sick the past couple of days, so I really haven't been able to do much. Did give me an opportunity to actually sit and watch these episodes that we're getting ready to talk about and really enjoy them. Got me to listen to a lot of John Williams.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I said last week, I finished the Ahsoka book.
Right.
I don't know if I mentioned it on the pod or not, but I finished the re-listening or rereading. Is it reading? If you're listening to the book, is it still reading? I mean, it's the printed page. It's just being said out loud. So is it still reading? Like when blind people read, do they read? Like, or if they read something with Braille, is it still considered reading?
I would consider Braille more reading than just an audiobook.
Okay.
Yeah.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, is audiobook closer to I don't know.
Well, see, I think there's a lot to be said about the actual process of reading because it expands your vocabulary. There's a lot of a lot of mental energy that has to
Sure.
go into that. Whereas listening to an audiobook, it's very passive.
Yeah.
You're not actively, having to follow the story. The story is being told to you. So, yeah, there's a stark difference. You can still get the same information out, but I think from a cognitive perspective, I mean, reading is obviously better.
Right. And I agree with you 100%. Not to poo-poo the audiobooks, because
No.
it's a great way to actually, like, hey, we don't have time to sit down and do a lot of reading.
Yeah,
So,
and when
but
you
we
have a 2 hour a day commute,
Exactly.
then yeah, they're perfect.
it's great for that. So but I'm with you. We're on the same page. I would rather read something off the printed page,
Of course.
and my imagination will tell me the story, as opposed to, like, with the Ahsoka book, it's Ashley Eckstein doing the read, and her ability to do voices isn't great. And it's got some Star Wars production quality into it.
It's got like music and sound
Yeah,
effects.
it's got a little bit of music
kind of
and
like they
stuff.
do with the Thrawn books and everything.
Right.
Okay.
But that being said, like, for us to be able to talk about it, you'll still get, you'll hear things and be like, oh, well, that's important and that's important. So it's a good alternative.
Yeah.
But based on that, started listening to Alphabet Squadron.
Okay.
Alphabet Squadron's got a little bit more closely production quality to Thrawn. Like, not multiple readers. Like, there's not multiple, like, people telling the story.
Right.
But there's, like, more background music and stuff like that.
Okay.
I will say this, I think Bronco Fett actually had, again, Bronco, you weren't on earlier, but when we were giving you props for, we should have listened to you about the Clone Wars sooner.
Yeah, go back and listen to the beginning of the episode.
Yeah. But he also, I think he was reading Alphabet Squadron, and I'm enjoying the story. It wasn't what I thought it was going to be. I'll put it that way. Originally when it came out, I thought we had talked about it as a young adult novel, and it's not. It's not.
Okay.
It makes me want to read that TIE Fighter, the Shadow something, Shadow Unit, Shadow something. It's like the 204th fucking fighter wing. I think it might be Shadow Wing from Alphabet Squadron.
Okay.
He's got this look on his face. It's like, trust me, it's in the book. And there was
Sure.
there was a TIE Fighter comic series that came out. In fact, is the
current canon?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Remember, that's what Brady had when those guys came up for the 100th. That was one of there was a cover that had a TIE Fighter pilot on it. Looked like the carded figure.
Yeah.
Like
oh, yes. Okay.
yes. So what
what you just had to say. Carded figure on a comic book.
Yes.
Then,
there you go. See, finally.
yeah.
But anyway, Alphabet Squadron, I think it's something that would be, when I finish it, maybe it'll be worth talking about a little bit in more depth if we're looking for something to take in. Either, let's face it, we're going to listen to these books.
Oh yeah, because as I'm racking up the fucking Amazon audiobook credits, I need to fucking spend them on something. So,
but I would say Alphabet Squadron is it's good because it takes place in a time it takes place in a time that we really haven't talked about a whole lot to a level of detail, like to a very micro level, as opposed to the big macro story for post Jedi.
Right.
So post Endor, like, it's getting into some, like, hey, here's this fighter wing. Here's the Empire resisting the fall, and units that are still out there doing things. Operation Cinder, which we've talked about.
Yeah. Now, and this is an interesting point too, because I know that the X-Wing novel series, the Legends material, is a beloved series amongst a lot of Star Wars fans. I never read it, sorry to say, but apparently it's very highly regarded amongst people who enjoy like the Legends books and all that. So I'm kind of wondering how this compares to that. Like, it makes me wish I'd read those, so when we do read Alphabet Squadron, we could kind of contrast and compare.
Yeah, we could potentially, but I think there's something to be said for there's enough material in here where we can apply it to canon and see how it relates to our current timeline.
Yeah.
In Star Wars. But so far so good. The Escape Pod has joined us in the chat, and it was in fact Shadow Wing. Thank you. I know I sat here and looked like Jason was having a stroke, but
Just trying to figure out what the fuck he was talking
yeah,
about.
no, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. And last thing, so I got to play some Call of Duty, right?
Yeah.
And the Modern Warfare had this update, so blah 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 blah, right? So I get on there, and I was basically maxed out. I couldn't look at homework anymore, so I decided to play some video games. And excuse me, I got on there with Big Swede, and he invited me into this party. And apparently, he's got this whole group, and Lunar Girls is in this group with a handful of other people, and fucking hilarious. Just a hilarious group as they're like navigating through the fucking maps and just busting balls and shit like that. It was fucking great. Like I said, I might have said it before we went on air, but yeah, I like the power shut down at the house and tripped it just enough to kick me off Xbox, which was probably a good thing because I'd already been playing too long.
Right.
But yeah, a lot of fun just getting on there. I probably should be playing BF2. I can't do it. I can't do it. I need you to get on there. I need you to get on there and say, "Hey, I'm online. Let's run around." Or Big Lovin', I think I've seen him get on once. He said he's
give
been
me a
playing.
date and time. Like,
Yeah.
if you let me schedule it, then I can be there. Like, if you just expect to see me just hop on randomly, it's never gonna fucking happen.
Yeah, and see, random is mostly what I end up doing because I'll like my fucking bandwidth is so limited that I'm like, I just need to sit here and put a controller in my hand and go, and drool coming out of my mouth. But
yeah, I haven't played my Xbox since the last time you and I played Battlefront
1.
So this was like, what, a month ago?
Yeah. I mean, I still I'm enjoying the Call of Duty, the new Call of Duty. Again, people shitting all over it, like especially because there was a little hitch with the update. Some people got this like error message, so for like 12 hours it wasn't working. People all over the place like, oh, yeah, you fucked up. You done fucked up, Aaron. And you fucking like, oh, I'm never playing this again. And blah, blah. I'm like, oh, come on. Dude, what the fuck?
Yeah. I mean, and that being the case, do you think they really give a fuck? You already gave them your money.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, that's what people have to realize. Like, nobody gives a fuck.
Yeah.
Like, oh, wow, you have really strong opinions about that? Nobody gives a fuck.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody.
Yeah.
Nobody. Nobody does, especially all the people that you're fucking hashtagging and everything else.
Yeah.
And wanting them to give that same fuck that you give. Nope.
Though again, we brought this up before, but I mean, kudos to EA because they've been consistently updating BF2.
Yeah.
Like to this day, 2 years later now, constantly updating BF2. Not that I really want to play it, but I'd like a whole new game engine and everything else. Maybe a BF3, but
yeah, I like we talked about it. There's some stick to itiveness to what EA's doing, and there's something to be said for that, I guess.
Yeah.
But I think it's just neat. We need a reason to do it.
Sure.
Right? We need a reason. Jump on there, and maybe if we're bouncing back and forth, then maybe it'll be a little bit more fun. But in the meantime. That's I got nothing.
All right, fair enough. So we ready to move on to our main topic?
Yeah, as soon as you
because
exercise the demon.
Yes, before we do that, we are going to take a very quick break and be back after this word from our sponsors.
The snaps. Oh man, the snaps.
Our paying customers requested it specifically.
So Lunar Girl, if you play in that squadron, you get double XP. Is that how that works? I'm not sure. There is a rattle. Can you guys hear that rattle? It's like there's a fucking. Oh God. I'm telling you, we need to shock mount everything in this fucking studio. Well, Scott, since this is going to turn into the All Things Modern Warfare podcast, what's nice about the latest release of the Modern Warfare game is it's cross-platform. So even if you only still have a PS4 or Xbox or PC, you get logged in through your whatever that account is. I don't know. Who makes? It's not Treyarch, is it? Who makes Modern Warfare?
Modern Warfare?
Yeah.
It used to be Infinity Ward. Is it Infinity Ward?
I think it's Infinity Ward.
Yeah.
I don't fucking know. Anyway, if you log in to your Infinity Ward or Treyarch or whatever the fuck it is, Call of Duty account.
I thought
then-
Treyarch was the EA guys.
I think it was originally, maybe it was originally Treyarch and then it went to, I don't fucking know. I know there's an app for that. I earned 15 minutes of double XP. Anyway, it's cross-platform, which is,
For
to
Call of
me,
Duty?
yeah,
Nice.
which to me is where we should be going.
I know,
Like,
right? Yeah.
or Battlefront and everything else.
It's
like
2020 for crying out loud.
you need to be able to monitor. Like I can see like when this shit first came out and the coding and everything else. Like PlayStation people wanted to have like there was superiority there because the PlayStation game. Like maybe the graphics were a little bit better, but some of the load times were slower. And then an Xbox was like it was really fast, but not as good at graphics depending on the version of the game you got. That shit's long since gone.
Yeah.
If you're a console gamer and you're still fucking worried about this one has a better picture than the other one, you're out of your fucking mind.
Yeah.
I mean honestly, like unless you're dealing with specifically with like the absolute latest and greatest Xbox and the latest and greatest PS.
Yeah, and that's where things are getting really weird too, because now that they're introducing like PlayStation Pro, Xbox One S, Xbox One X. It's like what the fuck, guys?
Yeah. And then there's going to be a new Xbox.
Well, yeah, this is the whole brand new hardware, like
Right.
the Xbox. I think it's just called the Xbox X.
No, we have the X now.
No. We have the Xbox One X. This is just going to be the
Oh.
Xbox
Oh
X.
my god.
I don't fucking know. Whatever.
Well, and I don't know
Whatever the new fucking console is called. But I seriously doubt I'm going to buy it unless I did hear a rumor that the new Xbox is going to be 100% backward compatible with every previous Xbox game ever made. Like if you have the fucking disc, like I have all the Sacred Jedi discs for all those fucking Xbox games over there, that you could just throw it into your new Xbox and just fucking play away, then that is a reason why I would do it. Because
Sure.
because
it makes all the Sacred Jedi discs playable.
Right, because I was an early adopter of the first Xbox. Like when everybody else was like, "Oh no, PS2 is the greatest." I'm like, "No, I like this Xbox. This Xbox is pretty fucking cool." And everybody's like, "No, it sucks. Fuck that."
Listen, Xbox Scarlet is the new console.
Scarlet, yes.
The
Like that whore from Mississippi.
what?
Yeah?
What horror from Mississippi?
Gone with the Wind? Scarlet?
Wow. Okay. Was it Mississippi? I thought they were in Georgia.
I thought it was Mississippi Burning, right? Isn't that when...
Oh wait, I'm thinking Gone with the Wind.
Yeah, that's what I said.
But Mississippi Burning is a whole different movie.
But is it... Whatever. I don't give a shit.
I don't know.
Anyway, Scarlet's a whore is
Okay.
what I'm...
Well, you have the Scarlet Letter. There's the whole thing.
You think that's why they named her Scarlet in that movie?
Probably.
Damn.
See, we're learning. We're learning things. We're learning. This is the all things knowledge, fucking giant,
Yes.
big brain time.
Yeah,
all of a
right.
sudden.
Yeah.
Anyway. Oh, see, the first train horn.
Mm-hmm.
Hubby had the original Xbox.
Yes. Yeah. Knights
Nice
of the Old Republic was exclusive to the original Xbox and the PC.
And I can play
at the
that.
time.
Like on my Xbox, I have the Knights of the Old Republic
Yes,
game.
because,
it's ported.
Right. In later iterations of the Xbox, they have made certain titles backward compatible, but
Right.
not every title.
Right. But it's not disc compatible. You have to download it from the Xbox store.
Yes.
But it's never not enabled me to get something that I've wanted. But I'm very with my gaming, this is turning into a long segue that's never going to be heard by anybody except for the people on YouTube.
Yeah, because
But-
this is not going in the audio version.
But my whole gaming thing is very I don't branch out in a whole lot. Like me playing Titanfall is so far out of my normal gaming realm.
Uh-huh.
Because I usually don't. I gravitate towards the things that I know I'm going to enjoy.
Sure.
It's an investment. It's a huge investment. These games are so expensive. Like,
well, and the time that it takes too.
Mhm.
Like time is such a precious commodity at this
it is.
age.
It is. Opportunity cost is way more expensive.
Yeah.
And like another kind of one that I usually wouldn't spend money on is like Red Dead Redemption.
Ooh, I
Like,
do want to play that.
It's very, very good. I'd like to get back into it, but I don't have time for it.
Exactly.
It's a time sink.
Which is why I've never played it, because I just
because
know
you're
I've
riding a fucking horse, like riding on my horse. You're riding. You're stupid fucking rap song.
I don't know why that's so funny. You said it so well. It was great.
You're like riding, like you're on a horse for fucking ever. You got to like go set up camp and sleep through the night and fucking get. It's like this is great if you're like post surgery. Like if you're like
You're right.
if you've got the flu and you're laid up for a fucking week and that's
Yeah.
all you can do is just fucking stay in one spot. Perfect game for you. But if you actually like have things to do and like don't have a lot of time to sink into this, like that's those times when everyone says, "Oh, you should be watching this on the Amazon Prime." I'm like, okay, sure.
Oh, I get that every single day. People at work, they're like, "Oh, you don't watch this?" I'm like,
Who has time?
"Yeah, how do you have the fucking time to watch this
Who has
bullshit?"
time to sit down and watch television?
Oh, remind me to tell you later what my next fall and winter are going to look like, because it's going to be very interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, so just remind me after the show.
All right.
Because, yeah, starting in September, my life is going to be a little different for 6 months.
Oh God.
Yeah.
All right.
But we'll, and it will affect the show, too, so. Yes, Hank singing Old Town Road would be the greatest thing in the history of things.
Somebody has to get me the lyrics for that.
You just gotta mumble something bullshit, you know.
I don't know. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it right.
Yeah,
Do it right.
and just say Old Town Road every couple of sentences, and
No.
how did?
If I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it right.
Oh my god, that would be fucking hilarious.
That would be a good like post show for the YouTube audience.
Yes, an
Patreon.
exclusive Patreon.
Yeah, there you go.
Gimmick. Yeah.
Old Town Road, sung
Yeah.
by Hank Hill.
It's good
All right,
stuff.
we should probably get back on track.
Yes. Oh my god, it's already after 7. Fuck. All right. 30 seconds of silence, and then we'll get back into it. Starting now. And we're back! So, before we get into our main topic, I just want to remind everybody, if you're listening to the audio version of this podcast, please go to youtube.com and subscribe to the All Things Star Wars podcast page. You get all of the behind-the-scenes nonsense that you don't get as part of the audio episode. In fact, you will see me and Dave talking for about 10 minutes about video games and the new Xbox and Dave singing part of Old Town Road. Fucking great. You're not going to get that in the audio version of the podcast, but if you subscribe to us on YouTube, you get all the behind-the-scenes bullshit that we do as we're recording this podcast. So, moving on, we're going to hop into the Clone Wars.
Are you sure? Is your computer going to be okay? Like,
It's getting a little hot.
it sounds like it.
Yeah.
It's like it sounds like a damn fucking somebody's opening the throttles up on final. It's like
Yeah, so it's got that internal fan that only when the laptop gets really hot, it like kicks in.
Right.
So I guess it's a little hot in here.
Should put a cooling pad on there. Oh, what are you talking about? Oh, I'm chilly. I gotta make sure the heat's up. Oh man.
I don't like the cold, Dave.
I
You
don't
should
like the
know
cold
this.
either.
All right. So we've got 2 story arcs that we're covering today, which funny, like I didn't even realize this until like I started the second story arc, that they're consecutive episodes throughout season 5. So we're looking at seasons 5, episodes 14 through 20, 2 different storylines. First, we've got Darth Maul's revenge, and then it goes right into Ahsoka's departure. 2 completely unrelated storylines, by
Right.
the way. But yeah, they just happen to be consecutive in this season 5. So we're starting off with Darth Maul's Revenge, episode 14, Eminence. I don't know why I cannot pronounce that right. As I'm like trying to type it out in the notes, I'm trying to like type eminescence or something. I'm like, wait, no, what? How do you say this word? What does it mean?
Did you like Google it? Did you say, "Hey Google, tell me how to say eminence"?
No, I had a different roundabout way to get to it, but yeah, I did eventually find my way. So this is the storyline that was alluded to in Rebels. So, for context, Dave and I watched Rebels long before we ever watched the rest of the Clone Wars. So, in Rebels, you get a lot of Mandalorian
Mm-hmm.
references, and you get a lot of Darth Maul references, and we get kind of hints about how Maul was somehow tied to the Mandalorians at one point with
Right.
the Darksaber and everything else. Well, these 3 episodes kind of flesh that out.
Right.
So, for those of us that didn't watch the Clone Wars, now we have that context for what was
Right.
going on in Rebels.
Yeah. And it was, had somebody told us, like, instead of just saying things like a ubiquitous, you should be watching the Clone Wars, maybe they should have said, like, your lives in Star Wars would be very much improved if you watched these episodes of the Clone Wars. Not just this generalization, but these episodes specifically. So we ready?
We are ready for episode 14, Eminence.
Evil Alliance! Darth Maul and Savage Opress escape Obi-Wan Kenobi's assault once again. With their plan to build a crime organization in peril, the brothers' fate is about to be changed forever as they drift barely alive through unknown space.
Yeah. So obviously something happens between the last time we dealt with Maul and Savage versus where we pick up here. I guess they had another battle with Obi-Wan at some point.
They did. I actually watched that episode.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, oh, I see Maul. I'm going to watch this one.
So Cliff Notes, was it any good?
Yeah, it was actually.
But the Nerdist did not deem it as part of the essential episodes.
So I think, yeah, you get to this point where Obi-Wan basically foils, like, Maul's coming up with a plan, right? They stole the garbage truck and they're like, okay, we're going to do this. And Obi-Wan comes in there, they fight. The Jedi that Obi-Wan was with in the episode gets killed. And, he barely makes it out of there. And then they fucking Savage and Maul, they get on the ship and they fucking get shot out of the sky. It was the Hondo, the pirates. It was this whole
Hondo again.
So Hondo is not nearly as annoying in these episodes because it's kind of like, he's the space pirate.
Right.
And so there's this whole pirate episode. And anyway, the pirates fucking basically RPG their fucking ship down. They crash. They use an escape, like an escape pod.
Oh, okay. Like the podcast.
Without the Michigan.
Right.
And so they get out in the escape pod and they get out into space, but they got nothing. There's no propulsion, no anything. So
barely any life support, apparently.
Right. Yeah. So at the end of the episode, it looks like fucking a scene from Apollo 13 where they're fucking frozen. They're friggin' Zabrixicles.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good.
Zabrixicles? Yeah. Okay.
So
yeah, anyway.
And that's pretty much where this episode picks up, is they're floating in fucking space.
Zabrixicles.
Yeah, they're near death when they get picked up by these fucking Mandalorians. And the first fucking shot is a dude with the fucking Darksaber cutting through the fucking ship. So it's like,
how fucking awesome is the animation on the Darksaber?
Oh, it's great.
I just
Yeah, and it's so iconic too, which is oh no, you're out of soda?
Nope.
All right, very good. Which is why when we saw it in The Mandalorian, the TV show, it was just like, holy fuck, that's the Darksaber, because it's so recognizable at this point.
Yeah. And you get also immediately is Death Watch.
Yeah.
When you were seeing this, did you... I think because of The Mandalorian, like, I'm analyzing Mando armor more than I think I ever had. So you're like looking at Mandalorian armor and seeing like different, like a couple of those Mandos had traditional like Mandalorian emblems on them.
Yeah, yeah.
Like the fucking the what's that thing called? The
Mandalorian emblem.
No, it's a thing. It's
that thing right there.
Shit. There's a word. It's jammed.
Emblem.
No. It's It's a something.
Emblem.
It's the skull of something. That thing is called a crank. Somebody help me out, please.
Emblem.
Trent Reznor is listed as a songwriter for All Town Road.
All right.
Dave, I sent you the lyrics in Facebook Messenger.
Nice.
Okay.
So anyway, squirrel. So yeah, and immediately Clan Vizsla shows up, and they are the ones that are kind of exiled. I have a vague recollection of this happening in the early seasons of the Clone Wars with fucking Obi-Wan's girlfriend.
Yes.
And her having the conflict with somebody else.
Yes.
It happened so long ago. This was like over a year ago when we talked about these fucking episodes. So I'm like, yeah.
Mythosaur.
Like, I kind of remember that.
Mythosaur.
That's great. I'm glad you pieced that together, finally.
I didn't. The guys in the chat did. Thank you guys in the chat.
So, oh my God. There was, so they pick up Maul and Savage, and basically the dude...
Savage.
The dude from fucking Vizsla is like, you guys are going to help us take back Mandalore. You know, they've gone fucking pacifist. They're a bunch of bitches now. We want you to help us take them back.
Well, yeah. Well, they had this like $1 Million Man sequence, right? Where they're fixing up Maul's legs. And
yeah.
You know, Obi-Wan had fucking cut off Savage's fucking arm.
Yes, because you know
that battle.
I noticed he had a robotic arm in
yeah.
this. So I even wrote in one of my notes like, oh, at some point Savage lost a limb.
Yeah, fucking Kenobi just. Oh, there's a part later in these episodes where Maul is like, you should have fucking been on the dark side because like this is a very un-Jedi like thing with your emotions and everything else. So Kenobi, after fucking the Jedi he went out there with got fucking killed, like he just was fucking pissed.
Yeah.
And fucking I thought, and originally when I saw it in that episode, I thought he got both of his arms. It turns out he only had one. But and apparently Zabraks bleed green.
I believe it.
Yeah, it's like,
but so
not Eagles green, like antifreeze green.
As they're going through this whole back and forth and this kind of semi-negotiation, trying to get Maul on board with them to help them take back Mandalore. Fucking the main Vizsla guy has also got his sidekick chick, who, spoiler alert, turns out to be the sister of fucking Obi-Wan's girlfriend. I can't remember her name. Satine, yeah. So, and there's a scene where Maul fucking force chokes this fucking Mando bitch.
Right.
And my note is Darth Maul gonna have to choke a bitch? That's what I wrote there. And,
that's great.
The fucking weird part about that, too, is, like, after they kind of, like, you know, straighten everything out, he fucking releases her. Him and Savage leave, like the chick's fucking grinning after that. I'm like, God damn,
yeah, we can use this power.
Yeah, like she really liked that. But I hear chicks are into that. So,
not all chicks.
Well, some
consensual. So it's got to be consensual. Yes, Jason. Yes.
I was gonna make a terrible joke right there, but I won't do it
consensual, Jason.
because I'm not that big of an asshole. Anyway.
Lies.
This is the point where, I mentioned Savage lost an arm at some point in my notes.
Yep.
So now we start getting a lot of different... And so this is the weird thing about this. So another thing was kind of lost at some point between the last time we saw Maul and this time, because now Maul is just focused. He's like, we're going to make a crime syndicate. He's telling this to Savage. We're going to make a crime syndicate. That's what we're going to do. That's our thing now.
Right.
It's like... Where did it go from him, being like, the lost apprentice and then like fucking wanting his revenge on Obi-Wan to now it's like, well, we're just going to make a crime syndicate.
I think he's what we saw in those early episodes where he was just out of his fucking gourd. Right. Now he's like starting to get,
where he was Spider Maul.
Right. So now he's getting his like turning into more of a tactician. Like, all right, what's the long game here? Like, all right, I really want Kenobi. I want fucking Kenobi to suffer. What can I set in motion to fucking make this happen?
Yeah.
And like, okay, we got rescued by these fucking Mandalorians. You know, the Force has led us to these idiots. So, fuck, how do we take advantage of this?
Yep.
And look, they're strong. They're warrior clans. They're fucking foolish.
Yeah.
And they were foolish for letting them live, thinking they could utilize that power.
Yeah.
And realized far too late that they couldn't control those other ones. But
yeah, and now we go on a stretch of like recruitment segments where
montage. It was a montage.
Yeah. Where first they start with Black Sun, which I had no idea. You probably didn't even recognize the species that most of the people in charge of Black Sun
They're like
were.
Thanos to me.
They were the species of Sheezer from the Shadows of the Empire book. The fucking lizard guy who was like the main enemy in that book.
Okay.
I've even got his fucking toy somewhere. They were that fucking species, which if somebody in the chat knows that offhand, please tell us. But yeah, as soon as I saw that first fucking representative from Black Sun, I'm like, that's fucking Sheezer species. Holy shit. So yeah, they recruit them, forcibly recruit by basically decapitating everybody. And then like one guy's left. He's like, well, it's your decision now.
Yeah.
So
Basically, the maitre d, like, who brought them into this fucking room, is suddenly the guy in charge.
Right.
Oh fuck! I guess I'll put on their outfits then. I'll get
Yeah.
the big gold fucking XFL fucking shoulder pads.
Yeah.
And we're gonna march around like that.
Feline is the species, apparently, according to Bronco Fett. So, yeah. Then they go to, the Pikes, who's like a mercenary group, I think. And then they go to Nalhutta, which is like the Hutt
Right.
homeworld. And they, kill a couple of fucking Hutts. Then they come to find out, oh, there's one Hutt still alive, Jabba. So we got to go to fucking Tatooine.
There's a great line in there too, where Maul's like got some idiot Hutt standing in front of him, and is like, Savage was basically threatening him with the lightsaber, and he's like, on Tatooine, like, oh, Jabba's palace. It's like, okay, so the intel you're giving me is that Jabba's in his palace.
Yeah,
all right.
Jabba's at Jabba's palace. Yeah.
Thanks. Zunk.
Yep. Fucking cuts him down. And then we get this awesome sequence where they're basically invading fucking Jabba's palace on Tatooine, which was really fucking cool. You get a bunch of Gamorrean guards getting fucking iced. Like all the familiar locations, like Jabba's
How are they effective as guards? This is one of those things that even in Return of the Jedi, I was like, I don't, aside from the smell and the noises and the disgustingness, like, what are they? How effective are they as guards?
Not very.
I mean, shit, they're fucking. Oh, I'm gonna pick up this giant fucking axe hammer thing, and then before I can even wield it, I'm gonna get fucking cut down.
Yeah.
It's just I'm like, you couldn't.
Well, and that's probably why Jabba didn't give a shit when one of his fucking guards fell down into the Rancor pit. He's like, ha ha ha.
I don't think he really gave a shit. He was meant to not give a shit about other things than himself anyway.
Yeah.
And who was that other fucking Hutt with him? The giant the accountant nerd Hutt with the giant glass.
I was wondering that. And maybe we find out at some point. Maybe we know in previous episodes of the Clone Wars. I don't fucking know. But
I don't either.
It was a very cool nostalgia trip going back to Jabba's palace, seeing the way they recreated it pretty accurately.
Yeah.
And it was a good sequence too. That whole assault where they fucking just basically had all those landers and they just fucking forced their way in.
Pew.
Yeah, it was good shit. And I finished up with kick-ass episode because this was all about Maul and the fucking Clan Vizsla recruiting a big army as part of their eventual takeover of Mandalore. And that's what this whole episode was about. Then we move on to Shades of Reason. And my first note in here is Satine, who's the fucking Obi-Wan's girlfriend.
Shades of Reason.
Oh, yes.
Hang on. Did you recognize, before we move on to that, did you recognize Mustafar when they were like going in? So Black Sun, their headquarters was on Mustafar.
Get the fuck out.
No, like I looked at it and I'm like, God, it's like fucking lava planet and everything else. And then like in Wikipedia, I was looking up Black Sun and they'd already come up with the Falleen, but yeah, it's on fucking Mustafar.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, so the Falleen nobleman from a fortress on Mustafar.
Probably something to do some research into.
Yeah, for sure. Shades of Reason?
Shades of Reason.
Villainy swells with an army of... Whoa, stop. With an army of the Villainy swells with an army of the galaxy's most vicious criminals. Darth Maul and Savage Opress conspire with Pre Vizsla and the Death Watch to topple Duchess Satine. God, I'm a fucking mess. Ruler of Mandalore. It's like scrolling on its own. ruler of Mandalore. While conspirators prepare to attack the Mandalorian capital, Sundari, from a base on Zambar, the fate of 2,000 other neutral systems is under the threat of Darth Maul, as Darth Maul moves closer to establishing a vast criminal empire. Like, legitimately, it's fucking... The screen is scrolling on me.
Maybe you should start loading the next one now.
I'm going to do that.
So, yeah. And this is something that we didn't mention leading into this, but if you go back to one of those previous season 1 or 2 fucking episodes, they do mention that Mandalore is kind of leading this coalition of 2,000 neutral systems. Like, they don't want to get involved in the fucking war. They're not part of the fucking Republic. They're not part of the Separatists. They're just like, leave us the fuck out of this. We're neutral. We're Sweden, right?
Right.
And oh god, fucking Satine, I wrote this in my notes. She is an insufferable pacifist. Like, every time she opens her fucking mouth and gives a speech, I'm like, ugh.
Yeah.
God, like, does anybody buying this shit on your fucking planet? This, oh, we must stay neutral and peace and love and blah,
Well,
blah.
it was this whole episode before how she came in to be the prime minister, which, you know, comes into play later when this other prime minister was using, like, a crime syndicate to basically make up fucking, oh, look how lawless these things are, and I'm going to come in there and I'm going to, you know, I'm going to use in black market trade and these other things. I think we went over these episodes, actually.
Probably.
And that guy, when he was removed from power, she's like, no, I don't, you know, I'm not going to bring the Mandalorians and these other systems into war to fight a war that I don't believe that we should be fighting. And these episodes, as we were looking into it, this is starting to get to the point where it's just these episodes is starting to get to the point where, especially with the next ones with Ahsoka and those trials and tribulations, where it's not just a pacifism thing. It's a, hey, is this war really legitimate? Is this something that we should really be fighting? Like, what the hell is going on?
Right.
Like, everyone seems to be getting the sense that things are just moving and nobody has any control of what's going on.
Right.
And it's because Palpatine's still pulling all those strings, and there's outliers that are going like, this,
something seems off about this whole thing.
I want to sit back and see what the fuck happens from this.
Yeah.
You know, not that I want to see innocents fucking die, because that's obviously Mandalore was a proud warrior race and yada yada yada. But at the same time, it's like, what I chose to kind of take out of some of these episodes is the fact that the war itself wasn't it just like people were starting to realize that things weren't really right. And maybe, you know, fast forward, spoiler alert, when we get to the Ahsoka episodes, when, you know, she goes through and basically finds her accuser.
Yeah.
And that some things at the end there was like, God damn, like it was all right in front of them. It was all right in front of them. And it just wasn't enough there for the Jedi to actually act on. They were reacting to everything that Palpatine was doing.
Yeah.
And I think Mandalore kind of falls victim to it at this point by trying to stay out of it.
Yeah. And I was corrected in the chat. Apparently it was Switzerland that was the big neutral country, not Sweden. And honestly, what's the fucking difference? Like, Switzerland, Sweden, they're all the fucking same in my book. They're not America, so they fucking suck. So that's what it boils down to. So moving on, this whole episode, it's like a big farce. Like, it's a big show. All of these armies, these Black Suns and the fucking Hutts and everybody that they recruited. Now the gig is, all right, you guys are going to invade us, Clan Vizsla. We're not going to be part of this. We're going to come into the rescue. Right? So while you're fucking, you know, shit-wrecking fucking Mandalore, we're going to come in and save the day in like this big farce of a fucking show.
It's the plot line to The Incredibles.
Right.
Have, like, Incrediboy turns into fucking bad guy.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, I'm gonna fucking launch holy hell so that I can come in and save the day.
Yes.
Which it works every single time, doesn't it? I mean, every single movie and
Oh yeah.
every fairy tale that's ever been told totally works.
Though honestly, it did work this time. Like, everybody fucking bought it.
Didn't work out so good for fucking Vizsla guy. But...
No. But I mean, when it comes to tricking the masses, like, they all fucking fell for it. They all immediately, they're like, yeah,
lemmings.
Vizsla, fucking war,
fucking
woo!
lemmings. There's probably they were controlling social media somehow too.
Oh, probably.
So,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
what?
That's the only way to win a war these days. So, and then after all this kind of settles and like the fucking Vizslers are kind of now in charge, Maul rolls in and he's like,
Vizslers? Is that a real thing?
Vizslas.
Okay, you said
Vizslers.
Vizslers. I'm like, oh shit, did I miss
I've
that?
been drinking a lot, sorry. So, and then Maul comes in, and Maul's like, all right, I challenge you to a duel. You know, slaps him in the face, and he's like, fucking, I challenge you for rule of Mandalore to the Vizsla guy. And they have their fucking battle. And it's fucking Vizsla Mandalore guy with his Darksaber versus Maul. And it's a pretty cool battle, but obviously we know the way this ends.
Right. So, important to note during this battle was getting the former prime minister, the guy that was replaced by Satine.
Yep.
Maul and why did they leave Maul and fucking Savage in the same cell? They put them in a cell together. Like, I don't know. Let's take these guys that like can control things with their mind and like pick people up and choke them to death and shit.
I was actually thinking that
we should just put these two in the same fucking cell.
Yeah.
Because Satine and the fucking prime minister fucking knuckle nuts, they're in cells next to each other, but they're obviously like, oh, we can hear the echo between the fucking, they're obviously in their glass cages of emotion.
Right. Well, I mean, it was pretty obvious that Maul and Savage knew that they could get out at any point.
Right.
Because
like,
Maul's like, all right, now, and then just boom, Savage
Yeah.
just fucking blows the whole fucking thing.
Yeah, because pre-Vizsla was like, all right, I'm going to turn the tables on this, and we're going to lock you up, because fuck you. I don't give a shit about these other systems. I don't care about your war, man.
Yeah,
right?
he just wanted Mandalore, and he didn't give a shit about Maul and Savage.
No.
He was just using them.
He should have just fucking killed them.
Yes.
And he didn't. He's like, oh, I'm going to lock him up. Oh, okay. Yeah, let's put these two guys in the same cell. And then, oh, shocking. Spoiler alert. They fucking break out.
Right.
And then they also break out fucking Prime Minister Knucklenuts. I can't think of his name. And they're like, okay, hey, look. We're kind of powerful guys. We're going to put you in charge of our planet after we go challenge this guy to a fucking duel.
Yeah, he's going to be their puppet fucking prime minister.
Right. And Homeboy's like, sure. Yeah. Why the fuck not?
Beat sitting in this fucking cell.
Yeah, right? Which, I could not do that. Like, being in a fucking glass like that. I would have been beating myself to death into the fucking walls.
It's funny you mention that, because in all 7 of these episodes, there is a lot of time spent in like fucking jail cells. And at one point towards the end, when we get into the Ahsoka stuff, I'm sitting there thinking to myself, like, fuck, I don't know if I'd make it. Like,
no fucking way.
Give me a fucking book or something, or I'm going to go like fucking crazy in here by myself.
Yeah, because Homeboy, the Prime Minister Knucklenuts, he had been in there for however long since Satine started to rule, which was 3 seasons worth of Clone Wars?
Yeah.
So if it were him, he'd be fucking mind comfing all over the fucking place. Like, if he left with your own fucking brain that long, no, I would legitimately fucking run as fast as I could into the walls until I gave myself brain damage and died. That's probably what would happen.
Yeah.
Which, who cares? It's probably easier to clean out. Yeah. Just Windex the inside of it. Just clean up. All right, throw somebody else in there.
I love your sound effects. That's good stuff.
Anyway, important to note that this is how Prime Minister Knucklenuts gets put into power, because Maul's like, okay, rule my people.
Yes. And again, he's just a puppet for Maul and Savage. So that's when we move right into the next episode, The Lawless.
Neutral star systems in peril. Darth Maul and Savage Opress command the planet Mandalore through the puppet Prime Minister, Almec, while they expand their criminal enterprise. With the Death Watch removed from power and the Jedi unaware of the villainous plot, nothing stands in the way of Darth Maul's vision for a vast criminal empire. We now find Duchess Satine imprisoned, as her few remaining loyal subjects make a desperate attempt to rescue her.
Yeah. So we get this fucking whole sequence where her nephew and like a bunch of other fucking Mandos break her out of jail.
Her nephew was a pain in the ass in the fucking other episode too.
Yeah, and I think he's a gay also. But either way, I made a note in here. Like, why do all of the Mandalorian armors, no matter what clan they're from,
Mhm.
they all look fucking badass? Why is that?
They all look good.
And did you notice after Maul took over, like they have these fucking, there's a red and black fucking Mando, and it's
Yeah.
even got like the fucking Maul horns, the fucking Zabrak
Yeah,
horns on the
like a
top.
couple of them did. Not all of
Yeah.
them, but a couple of them did.
I'm
yeah.
like, how fucking cool is that? I need a Black Series figure of that, like right now.
Right?
I need
Yeah.
it right now. There was another fucking thing later on too. Oh, it's Obi-Wan in the fucking Maul
Mhm.
fucking outfit. I'm like, I need a Black Series of that right now.
Yeah, Obi-Wan in fucking Mandalorian armor with the fucking helmet on and everything, like that you could take off. Holy shit! How
my
has this
God.
not been a thing?
Yeah, I need that. I need it. So anyway, yeah, this is wait, hold on. Maul helmet. Council. Okay, so yeah, we go back to fucking Coruscant where the Jedi are talking. Satine sends a message to Obi-Wan. She's like, "Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope." And Obi-Wan's like, "Oh man, I really want to hit that shit." So
Secret
Yoda
mission
can.
in uncharted space. Let's go.
Yeah, so Yoda, can we go help her? And Yoda's like, nah, they're not part of the Republic, so fuck them.
Well, that's the thing too. It's not just Yoda. It's basically the entire council is like, yeah, they chose to be neutral, so this isn't involving the war, so
Yeah.
fuck it. Important to note, to me, this is part of the pivot that makes the next episodes with Ahsoka a little bit more poignant. Because
Right.
we're really seeing the fucking Jedi Council and Yoda and his fucking war crimes be really at their fucking most heated at this point.
Mm.
It's like, okay, you're now making decisions not for the greater good, but for these other systems and everything else. Like you're making basically political and mechanical decisions that are going to have second and third order effects
Yeah.
in the name of like, well, we can't get involved in that because of this.
Mhm.
And how far they're straying from what the Jedi traditionally were supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
I mean, let's face it, in the prequels and as the Clone Wars have gone on, you got this feeling anyway, the generals, the Jedi generals, right?
Mm.
But now it's like, to me, it just starts getting real like the darkness. Like it seems, I'd be willing to bet that the actual color of these episodes get more and more dark as we go into it. Like I think the darkness that's falling over to Jedi and over the galaxy is apparent just in each episode that we watch. I'm willing to bet you that there's like even from a treatment standpoint, that the detail starts getting fucking really good. Even my wife had mentioned that, like, wow, that animation's pretty good, like all the backdrops and everything. Yeah, it's fucking so far and away better than it was in the first few seasons, which that's any animated series gets better as they go along.
Sure. Yeah.
But just the fact that it's integral to what's going on with the plot, with the things that are in the background, like all the Mandalorians, like the nuances of their different uniforms, different clans, like how Death Watch kind of suddenly when they took over, like, okay, poop, here, put a fucking traditional Mandalorian helmet on, wear the red and the black or red and silver type thing, and then now everyone's like, you immediately have this uniformity that level of detail I would not have expected. Like each episode that I watched today just brought more and more level of detail, and I was just so impressed with it.
Yep. So yeah, the Jedi Council basically tells Mandalore to piss off. We're not helping you. So Obi-Wan decides to go rogue. He fucking gets a beater of a ship from Anakin, and it's just like some fucking just beat the fuck up like cargo ship that he tries to land on Mandalore, and it's just like a whole big.
It is a giant shit wagon.
Yeah,
like leaking oil and everything.
Yeah, and this is where like one of the people in the new fucking Maul Mandalorian armor walks up, and Obi-Wan's like, "Oh yeah, come into the ship. I got my permit right there."
Yeah, I got my landing permits up here in the ship.
Yeah, which is never a good sign in a Star Wars movie.
Yeah,
but
off-screen fighting happens, and then magically our hero comes out with a fucking new outfit on.
Yeah. And that's where I made my note. I need this as a Black Series figure.
Agreed.
And of course, obviously, the whole thing this was all part of Maul's plan, was to like get Satine, get her to send that message to Obi-Wan so he could coax Obi-Wan to come to the fucking planet. And he does. Obi-Wan gets there, and a lot of back and forth with Obi-Wan and fucking Maul and Satine, and eventually Maul just like straight up kills Satine.
Yeah.
Like straight up guts her with the fucking darksaber.
This shit, like, to me, again, I can't emphasize enough. This is where this series just was. You can't. This is a kid's show. This is a
No,
fucking
not
kid's
anymore.
show. Like, oh, hey, by the way, Obi-Wan, yeah, all that fucking, all that hate, all that emotion that you have because I got your girl here.
Mm.
You're like, oh man, this is way better than I was just going to kill you, but now you're going to fucking suffer.
Yeah.
I'm going to take this person, this attachment that you have, that you came all the way across the galaxy for. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to be choking her out here. Yeah, it kind of upsets you, doesn't it? Oh yeah, I love it. And then all of a sudden be like, yeah, okay, rip, and fucking guts her like a fucking pig.
Mm-hmm.
And then Obi-Wan just is Maul sitting in the throne, just like, yeah, this is way better than anything I had planned.
Yeah.
I want this motherfucker to suffer. How easy it would have been for Kenobi at that point to fucking go completely into the dark side.
Exactly. And I was thinking that the whole time I'm watching that, I'm like, if that was almost anybody else, imagine if that was Anakin and they did that to Padme, he would have fucking decapitated them before her body ever hit the floor.
There would have been like everyone's head would have suddenly popped like a goddamn pimple.
He would have gone ape shit, and Obi-Wan kept it together for better or worse, and then you can kind of debate this. Was that the right thing? Was the right thing for him to just be there and just kind of like, try not to get emotional in this situation and like her quote to him was, as she was dying, she's like, I've loved you always. I always will. It's like, wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's not fully like, oh, this was off to, it's kind of a thing like, flirty, whatever, like to full on like, make any assumption that you want.
Mm-hmm.
But for Obi-Wan, I just don't know how he doesn't immediately fucking turn to the dark side. How does he not fucking just be like, I'm going to take all of this hate and just fucking jizz all over you with I'm just gonna fucking explode.
Yeah.
And he doesn't. He just fucking he gets bound up, and I just
it's amazing, and it's like, so you could look really deep into this. It's like, was that the right thing? Was it the wrong thing? I mean, eventually, when we get back to Rebels, Maul does get his at the hands of Obi-Wan. Yeah. So,
but even with that, even when Maul finally tracks Obi-Wan down again to exact the revenge, and Obi-Wan at that point's like, I'm doing you a favor by putting you out of your misery, basically. Like, Obi-Wan, I think we've talked about it before. Obi-Wan makes the argument for being probably the strongest light side Force user.
Yeah.
Because even Yoda, toward the end of the Clone Wars, because I mismanaged my watching and watched the last 3 episodes of season 6 just because I wanted to, and there's some foreshadowing there with some of what Yoda goes through, and I don't know how, like, was it the right thing for him not to try and sacrifice himself on Maul's blade at that point?
Yeah,
I guess not. But so fucking dark.
Yeah,
like, definitely one of those points where if I was taking notes, I would have wrote down, this is no longer a children's show.
Right. Yeah. This was where they transitioned for sure. 100%. So after this, we get a scene with Palpatine. All of a sudden, Palpatine out of nowhere fucking shows up. And he's like sitting on a fucking ledge. He's like, bring me a ship.
Yeah. Bring my ship. Like, all right. I'm feeling that shit was going on. Now, all right, it's about time for old boy to fucking, I'm going to reel him in.
Yeah. And fucking hell. So we get this whole scene where Palpatine lands on Mandalore as Darth Sidious, right? It's not like Chancellor Palpatine. No, he's got the fucking hood and everything else on. He's fucking force choking bitches all the way to Darth Maul. And we get this incredible fucking scene where it's fucking, and first of all, like, Maul like bows to him. He's like, master, and
like,
Sidious is
Maul
like,
felt him land. It was like, I haven't felt that since, oh fuck.
Yeah.
My master's here. Shit. And it's like, It's like when your dad's coming home, like after you did something wrong. It's like, oh fuck, I'm gonna get beat. Oh shit.
Yeah, but again, he was like super subservient. He like didn't challenge him at all. He's like, Master, I'm still alive. And Palpatine's like, I've long since replaced you,
Yeah.
so you are no longer a thing. And then we get this fucking badass battle between Savage and Maul against Palpatine.
Yep. Palpatine ripping out two lightsabers.
Yeah, dual wielding.
And enjoying the shit out of it.
Yeah.
It just absolutely. And you see some of the stuff that we saw in Revenge of the Sith, where he's like doing the spin move and like some other shit, like the animation style. How he was fighting was something that was portrayed in the movie, which I thought was really cool.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it was not a bridge too far. It wasn't like Yoda suddenly fucking when it was fighting Dooku. It didn't seem like it came out of nowhere,
right?
Because we saw this in the movie. But what a great sequence. At the end of that, like if we had any question that if Savage was going to live through this, nope, gone.
Yeah,
gone. He was the fact that he held up as long as he did was pretty remarkable. The fucking the Death Witches or whatever the fuck those broads were that took that scrawny piece of shit.
Turned him into the Hulk.
Yeah.
Basically, he was like Bane from fucking Batman,
right?
He was like some fucking scrawny little guy. He gets like the fucking and Palpatine eventually cuts down Savage, fucking just like straight up kills him.
Yep.
And then he basically subdues Maul. He could have killed him at that point, but he's like, no, I got other plans for you.
Yeah, I got something. I think it was like I've got far better plans for you.
Yeah.
As he's just fucking lighting them up with the Force lightning. Just like, and Maul is screaming like a bitch.
Yeah.
Like, oh fuck.
Which again makes sense when we see Maul in Rebels. He's so broken compared to where he is here.
Yeah. Yeah, the rise and fall of Maul is pretty interesting throughout the entirety of this.
And of course, there's still a big blank space where we see him in that cameo in Solo, where at some point in those years in between, he does become the head of this crime syndicate.
Right, and I think that's an interesting thing to bring up. It makes you wonder. Like, I wanted to do this and I just never got a chance to. But if you overlay the timelines, I'm like, okay, here we are in Clone Wars. Whatever subsequently when Solo begins, right? Overlaying that timeline to what Maul is doing, because obviously if we make the assumption that the Empire has already begun, like Clone Wars are over, the Empire has begun, right? Because we get that from in Solo based on Solo's timeline, right?
Yeah.
So Maul, this had to have already have happened. So now Maul is fully a puppet of Palpatine at that point. He's not fucking independent contractor anymore. He's fucking. There's no chance that Palpatine's letting him off the leash again. So
sure, but we don't know what that dynamic is after that.
Well, we know as he's running Black Sun that you're gonna do these things for me. I mean, shit, it could be anything. It could be like he's fucking running spice to help fund the fucking Death Star. It could be there's all these things that he could have Maul doing.
Yeah.
Like,
oh shit, I never thought about that.
Having a perfect fucking you were a former fucking apprentice. Now you're a piece of shit, but you're a useful piece of shit.
Right.
So you're going to do these things for me, or I'm going to fucking hit you with the Force lightning again, because you don't want that, do you? Do you little bitch?
And
scream like a bitch.
And that kind of goes back to when Obi-Wan kills him in Rebels. Like, his last words to Obi-Wan was like, "Is he the chosen one?" referring to Luke. Right. And Obi-Wan's like, "Yeah." And it's like, "Good, he'll avenge both of us," or whatever.
Right.
Referring to Palpatine. Where Maul, even then, at that point in the timeline, still has all these ill feelings towards
and
Palpatine.
There's also parts too, like, and we got into it in a little bit in the last Maul episodes, where Maul has the foresight. Like he's a powerful Force user, and he has some ability to look into the future, and see how things are going to progress. And not that the future comes in fully into view for him, but he's still he's moving along a path that even when that last encounter in Rebels where he basically falls on Obi-Wan's sword, he knows like, oh thank God, fucking hell, God just kill me. I can't get force lightning one more time. Oh my god.
Yeah.
But put him back in that glass case where he can fucking ram his head into the thing.
Yeah.
Uh,
So, and that's really the end of that story. Yeah, there's this whole other side thing with Obi-Wan and the fucking sister of his girlfriend, like liberating Mandalore. It's kind of whatever. But like the real shit was with fucking Palpatine and Maul and Savage.
yeah.
And it was good.
Yeah, and do you get the impression when we talk about, Palpatine pulling these strings and everything, some of these things that happen after the fact, like I don't think Palpatine planned this with Maul. I think Palpatine wrote off Maul. Maybe had some inkling he was out there, but it's like, yeah, whatever.
He did seem kind of surprised when he's
Yeah.
like, "Oh, you actually lived through all that."
And that's like Palpatine as like it's the hubris, right? It's the victim of his own hubris. Spoiler alert, like future episodes, like as we get to the end of season 6, they use the word hubris a lot.
Do they?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. If you've never heard the word hubris before in your life, you're gonna hear it dozens of times.
Yeah.
It's fucking ridiculous.
Well, you heard it a few times in Last Jedi, so
Yes, you did,
They
and
love
again in
that
Rise
word.
of Skywalker for a hot minute. But yeah, it's what the fuck?
what the fuck?
Just found a 55 wheat penny. Cool.
What the hell is that?
Oh, a penny that has the wheat on the back as opposed to the
Oh,
Lincoln.
yeah.
Right.
I've got a few of those.
Yeah, because you had them with the steel penny, where it's just like 1 cent, and then went from steel post-war and back to the copper, air quote, and then it went to the Lincoln Memorial. Wow.
Yes.
Thanks, Isaac, for fucking completely like it took me a half a heartbeat to fucking be like, why is this relevant in
We
here?
were on the rails, and now we're just like off the rails.
It's all Isaac's fault.
So, moving on. Now, that's the end of the Revenge of Darth Maul. Now we're moving into the Ahsoka storyline, and this is Ahsoka's departure, is these 4 episodes, starting with episode 17, Sabotage.
Invasion! The planet Cato Nemoidia is under separatist attack. Anakin Skywalker and his Padawan, Ahsoka Tano, rush to the rescue as they lead a squadron of starfighters to the planet below. That's it.
Okay. And this episode starts off really fucking weird. It starts with this battle, right? This invasion. Like, we got to take this new fucking planet.
Right.
You get like 5 to 10 minutes of this whole like starfighter sequence and everything with Anakin and Ahsoka as they're just starting to get their landing party on the fucking planet. When they get a call from the fucking council, like, hey, you two got to come back to Coruscant. Bombing at the Jedi Temple. We need your help. And it was so weird. Like the fact that they were just starting this battle. Like in a real war, would you really pull these two back? Like just as they were starting their fucking ground assault on this planet?
So I had to go back because I started watching this, and full disclosure, I was watching this like while I was doing homework, so I'm trying to do fucking derivatives and I have this on, so I'm like I'm more into the fucking Clone Wars episode than I am this.
Yeah.
But I legitimately had this thought. I was like, did I miss something? Like, and when I heard the big voice, like when I heard that, I'm like, oh, okay, coming to the rescue of whatever.
Right.
And I'm looking, and they're fighting separatists. I'm like, separatists weren't on Mandalore.
Yeah.
Because in my brain, I just was continuing along the Mandalore thing. Like they were going to go rescue Mandalore.
Yeah.
At the request of Obi-Wan.
No, this is a totally separate...
completely fucking different thing.
Yeah.
And it did. It threw me off. I'm like, oh, all right.
Yeah.
55 wheat penny.
And even with that, it's like they didn't stay on the planet for long. They got, they were having some hardships as they were trying to land with vulture droids and whatnot, or buzz droids, and then they landed, and then they fucking immediately got pulled. So it was like fucking weird. So yeah, ultimately a bombing happens at the fucking Jedi Temple in like some cargo bay. And it's believed that it could have been an inside job, right? They're alluding to the fact that a Jedi may have done it based on clearances and who had access and everything else. And then we start getting into this overarching storyline about how there are some Jedi, and it kind of goes back to what we were talking about before, who aren't really on board with the direction of the war. And just basically we're getting some political idealists who are like, is this really the right thing? Should the Jedi really be acting as generals in this fucking war? Aren't we just peacekeepers? Like, what the fuck?
Well, I mean, it's not a new thing because the Clone Wars have been going on for ostensibly what, like a decade at this point. I mean, we watched Ahsoka Tano grow up from a child, basically.
Yeah,
And-
she still seems kind of young, but I think this is over the period of like 2 to 4 years, something like that. the Clone
Regardless,
Wars.
it's not like the war is new, but as we're watching the Clone Wars, we get we get this idealism, like we know it's happening.
Yeah,
Like we've seen the future, so because we see what happens in Revenge of the Sith, and we know what happens to the Clone Wars, so we know the outcome. But watching how evident it was, and it should have been to everyone involved, they never got hold of it to the point where they could have stopped it.
sure. Yeah,
And I was alluding to before, like that's what I noticed each one of these episodes. It's like they get further and further down this path, and we see it at the end of this 3 or 4. It's 3, right? We got 3 in the Ahsoka.
4 episodes.
Yeah, this 4 then.
Yeah,
And the way it finishes is like it's fucking screaming at the top of its lungs, like what the fuck is going on here?
yeah,
They're powerless. They're powerless to do anything about it.
yeah. Which goes back to what you were saying before, when you've got one person pulling the strings on both sides. Yeah, it's kind of hard to fucking stop this wheel once it gets turning.
Yeah.
And yeah, so but this it starts off again as just like an inside job. There's an investigator droid named Russo, which immediately makes me think of like Vince Russo. I don't know why.
Who the fuck is Vince Russo?
I went on his podcast, big wrestling guy. That's why Scott Rasmussen listens to us now. Anyway,
Not a wrestling guy.
yeah. So, for some reason, the Jedi Council thinks Anakin and Ahsoka, because they weren't on the planet at the time, are the best neutral people to investigate this fucking thing. And come to find out, after a long investigation, a lot of shit happens. We'll kind of speed through some of this. Basically, a guy, one of the maintenance workers in this fucking hangar, had these like nano droids in his system, and they were also explosives. So within his body, he had explosives that fucking blew up this goddamn hangar. So that's kind of
That's basically the entirety of the episode. I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, the next 3 are the better ones. This is
Yeah.
just this is teeing it up.
Yeah, this is the setup. End of the episode, they're investigating the guy's wife. Come to find out, like, the nanodroids were mixed into his food. His fucking wife fed him the food. They capture her. The end.
Or so we think.
Right. So we move into episode 18, The Jedi Who Knew Too Much.
Terror at the Temple. The Jedi Temple is in disarray after a vicious terrorist attack. Anakin Skywalker and Ahsoka Tano set out to find the truth of who is really behind this horrendous catastrophe. Their investigation led them to discover the true saboteur, Letta Termond. Letta Termond. Really?
Yeah.
Letta Termond?
Sure.
Letta Termond. Is that like Letterkenny? Letta Termond. Now the Jedi attempt to return the temple to normalcy. But first, Master Yoda must give a eulogy to the fallen Jedi warriors.
Yep. So Yoda's going through his typical Jedi spiel. When I see in the background behind Yoda, I see a Republic officer, and I'm like, was that fucking Tarkin? As I'm looking in the background, I'm like, the facial structure looked a lot like Tarkin.
Yep.
Come to find out, it was fucking Tarkin, because now he is a driver for these next 3 fucking episodes, for at least one part of them. And he's Admiral Tarkin, and he's now in charge of the investigation into all of this bullshit. But I thought that was awesome. Is this the first time he's appeared in Clone Wars?
I don't think so. I think he's been in one previous one.
Oh, okay. Because this is the first time I've seen him in Clone Wars.
Yeah.
So I kind of nerded out a little bit when I saw this earlier. So, Ahsoka has a really interesting conversation with her friend Barriss, who's the green-skinned Mira Liku, or whatever the fuck that species is called.
Hottie.
Yeah. Which we saw her. We covered the episode that these two like became friends.
Yeah.
Where they were trapped on fucking Geonosis.
Right. In the tunnels and everything else.
Yeah.
Like there's all this like kind of like sexual tension, innuendo, like kind of like they had feelings for each other. There's an entire subreddit based on this. Oh
Really?
yeah, oh yeah,
Like those two being like lesbian lovers
oh
kind of
yeah,
thing?
oh yes.
Oh, I need to go
That
find
is a
that.
real thing.
Wow, I
Yeah,
had no idea.
Reddit is amazing sometimes.
That's awesome. So yeah, but yeah, she has a really interesting conversation with her about this whole, the fucking should the Jedi be involved in this war? This isn't really the Jedi way. Which I mean, it's pretty obvious at this point. It's like I'm pretty sure
Right.
she's the bad guy in all of this. Spoiler alert. So, then Letta, whatever, asks for Ahsoka. Like, she's the wife from the previous episode. Asks for her to come to her fucking cell because she's the only one she'll talk to, right? And Ahsoka gets there, and immediately Homegirl gets fucking force choked out. And obviously, it all looks like Ahsoka was doing it, while Ahsoka's just like, "Oh, what's going on?" While
Right.
Homegirl is getting choked out through the force. So immediately now, Ahsoka has a target on her head. Everybody thinks that she obviously went in there and fucking killed this Letta chick.
Right.
And now Ahsoka's the one involved in the bombing and everything else.
Yep.
Allegedly. So she gets arrested, put in prison. This fucking prison that they have in these episodes, like super high security shit.
Right.
Like filled with fucking clone troopers, all kinds of like multiple barricades and
What about the Revan, like the Revan-esque fucking like prison guards?
oh yeah,
like with the dual wielded yellow lightsabers.
Mhm.
Like I thought that was a cool kind of throwback.
Yeah.
Well, not necessarily throwback, but reminded me of something that you'd see in Old Republic.
We saw those in, I think it was in Rebels. I think Kanan had a moment where he came in contact with like those suits of armor, like people in that suit of armor. But yeah, these fucking like old school Jedi Guardian fucking things. Yeah, those are pretty badass though. But yeah, but before she died, the wife revealed that a Jedi had helped her. And then Ahsoka was set up. Sorry, flipping through my notes. And then someone springs Ahsoka out of jail. Like Anakin shows up. He's like, "Hey, I need to see my fucking Padawan." Blah blah blah. And the clones are like, "No, you're not getting in." Where Anakin could have just like shit wrecked the whole place.
Right.
But he decided, no, fuck it, I'm out.
Yeah. Oh God. Yes. All right, idiots.
Yeah. So, but somebody just happened to leave a key card outside of Ahsoka's cell.
Right.
Lets her kind of escape. And all right, let's finish this episode and then we'll handle that. And there's this long, like most of this episode is Ahsoka fucking running from the clones and Anakin because it's just this long
Julia Roberts style, like
I'm
in
like
a movie running.
chase sequence. I do like the throwback to the fucking stun shots because Anakin orders the clones to set it on stun, and it's the circular fucking firing with the same
makes the
sound.
noise.
Yeah, like a throwback to New Hope when they stun Leia. But this basically turns into the fucking Fugitive, where Ahsoka and Anakin run to the end of this fucking pipe, and Ahsoka's like, "I did not kill my wife," and Anakin's like, "I don't care."
Yeah.
And, no, but
find the one-armed man.
yes, and Ahsoka fucking just jumps off of this fucking pipe into the abyss down there,
into the seedy under regions of Coruscant.
Yes, which I have a lot to say about that in the next episode.
Yeah.
But ultimately, this episode was just one long chase sequence after Ahsoka is now the suspect in this whole fucking thing. And she continues to be through the next couple episodes. But because this is such a long episode, we need to take a second break and be right back after this word from our sponsors. I'm actually glad he said something because I have to piss again too. It's all the beers. The only time I drink alcohol now is here on the show, so I'm like half a glass of whiskey and 2 beers in, and man, it's oh, it was 1313. Okay, because obviously there's the video game reference and everything else. But yeah, I'm definitely going to talk about the whole underworld thing when we get to this next episode. Oh my god, I got to pee so bad. What the hell? Hey, Scott sent me a text.
legitimately sounds like the sequence in Geonosis where Anakin gets his fucking lightsaber cut in half. Remember, they're in the droid factory.
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like outside right now.
Oh, is they're working on the tracks?
Yeah, careful. It smells funny out there. I don't know, something like a skunk or something.
Oh, we do have skunks in the area, so.
Yeah. Well, you'll see. Bronco Fett, are you really pooping right now? Like, is that really what's happening? Yeah, I need one more soda. Shit. Damn it. Cats and dogs living together. Man, some good shit. Oh. Bronco Fett, what was your MOS? Just curious. Oh, there's and he is indeed pooping. That's excellent. I still don't know when, how to do the knives and shit. How do you do that in the chat? Am I missing something? Oh, there it is. There's emojis. Ah, look at that. Clever girl. God, disgusting. I just figured out there's an emoji thing. I'm like, how the fuck? He was a 12 Bravo. He was also a sapper. Oh, no shit. Cool. Do you know what that is?
A sapper?
Yeah.
Sexual assault.
No,
prevention
not
response.
No, that's not what that is.
Oh.
Did you go all the way inside?
That's what she said.
Oh, all right. I opened
not.
myself up for that one.
Yeah.
I was going to. Do you guys still have that 2-liter bottle of Diet Coke from the Super Bowl party?
I can ask.
I could use
Doubt it.
one more glass. I'll be fine. It's like a swallow there, and it's
Hey, do we still have that 2-liter of Diet Coke from the Super Bowl? Question mark. Do we have any kind of diet soda at all in the house? Question mark. If we do, can you bring it out? Question mark. Okay. We'll see.
Fair enough.
I don't recall that. Whatever.
Well, who else drinks it? I wonder if I type that. Hang on. Let's see if I type code. Hey, look at that.
Shit.
So I don't have to even click through the thing. I can just go.
Apparently not. All right, are we ready to
So if I go
get
like,
through the rest of this?
squirrel or squid, not squirrel. I don't know. I can't look at what Bronco Fett's doing anymore, knowing that he's taking a shit. That's funny. Now I can't not do it.
All right, are we ready?
Right. Probably.
Let's get back to it. 30 seconds of silence starting now. And we're back. I couldn't help it. Kristen said we had no soda in the house.
No worries. Thank you.
Anyway, moving on. We got 2 more episodes to get through in this Ahsoka storyline, and the next one is episode 19, To Catch a Jedi. So have you noticed like some of the titles of these? The Jedi Who Knew Too Much, To Catch a Jedi,
Right.
and then the next one, The Wrong Jedi. They're all allusions to like pop culture references.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cute, I guess.
Too overt
Yeah.
to me, honestly.
Yeah,
at this
a
point, but
little bit. So, but anyway, episode 19.
Ahsoka Tano captured. While on the run to prove her innocence, Padawan Tano teamed up with the deadly Asajj Ventress to find the rogue Jedi who...
Whoa! I think you're reading episode 20.
I am reading episode 20.
We're 19.
19, to catch a Jedi. Spoiler alert. Ahsoka Tano on the run. After an attack on the Jedi Temple, Anakin Skywalker's young Padawan found herself accused of murdering the person responsible for the bombings. With no choice but to run, she was chased by her master, who begged for her to turn herself in. Knowing there is little hope of being cleared of the crimes, Ahsoka decided to find out the truth and prove her innocence on her own.
So we start off in the underworld of Coruscant, right? The lower levels.
The lower levels.
And so did you see when a couple weeks ago they released the test footage of the Lucas Underworld series?
Yeah.
And I mean that kind of looked like shit, but quite frankly,
yeah, but there's no production role to it.
Yeah, but based off of what I saw in the beginning of this episode, I could see why he would want to do that. Like as Ahsoka's walking through this deep underworld of fucking Coruscant, you can just imagine there are so many stories to be told in there. So much shit going on.
Well, think about it in Bloodline.
Yeah.
Or the one character, like she starts basically like as she's working for like somebody that's in the Senate, like one of the staffers. Or was that Bloodline or Aftermath?
No, that was Thrawn. We're talking about.
Was that in Brilliant Thrawn? I don't know.
We're talking about what's her name? The chick who eventually becomes the governor of Lothal.
It's Price. It's right,
Governor
Thrawn.
Price. Yeah, as she's working
she,
her way up through the underworld.
Yeah, but it gives you this like clear delineation of like, okay, based on what level you live on, basically is where you are, what level of affluence you have on Coruscant.
And I think this episode gives you a really good visual of that. Like, for some reason, I'm watching this and I'm just thinking about like all the side stories that are going on down there. Like, what other shit is going on in this underworld of fucking Coruscant? And I get it. I get why, based off of what I saw in this episode, why Lucas would want to do a series based on
there's
that.
An infinite amount of things. Like you could have it's like the number of CSI episodes, or like Coruscant NCIS, level 13. You could have one for each fucking level depending on like, here's the Vice Squad level ones because they can afford Ferraris or whatever. It's public transportation, the darkness of the entirety, like the darkness of the treatment. Like it's very like even watching it, because I was watching on my iPhone. And I could pick out like you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of Batman. You know how in Batman,
Gotham and the real dark.
So like darkness, and then it was like certain lighting. Like, okay, here's a little bit brighter area of lighting. Like, Ahsoka going in, like showing that Ahsoka obviously doesn't belong there.
Right.
Like she's there almost as like this, just a little bit brighter than she's supposed to.
Yeah, like just like the colors on her body, that color palette. It's like it contrasts too much with that darkness.
Because even like the Twi'leks and the other alien species that you see walking by, they're still they're dark.
Yeah.
Whereas she's not. You still are getting the colors on her, even when she puts the hood on.
Yeah, she still sticks out.
Yeah, and I like that she found a being that had like antenna stalks or something. So like, oh wait, he's got a pointy head. I want that. Here, have this death stick, which is what I thought she gave her. Like it looked like, and he's holding it like it's like some marijuana or something. Like, ooh, look at this. Like, what do you want? Very. I really think the Filoni. This is I spoke about it at length in the beginning of this 2-hour menagerie here, but so much detail into making you feel, right? Really making you feel these episodes. Like making like, all right,
the level of immersion was really high in this.
And it's not like they changed the animation of the characters themselves. I mean, it's still like, Anakin looks like Anakin, the way the droids look.
It's just the surroundings and just everything else. It's really, really well done. And as you kind of alluded to, Ventress comes into play. How she's fallen, that the character of Ventress, you know, she started off as the apprentice of fucking Dooku, and then even after like he shit canned her and she went to the fucking Night Sisters, you know, she still seemed to have a level of like power and prestige, and now she's like just some fucking scummy bounty hunter in the
Yeah.
underworld of Coruscant. Like,
I mean, at some point, let's talk a little bit about Legends material, right? When you're talking about if you're trying to hide, like where are you going to hide? You're going to hide on Coruscant. You're going to hide where nobody would think. Oh, excuse me. Holy shit. That was weird.
Mm.
You're gonna hide someplace where they would never think to look at for you.
yeah,
Like, and Dooku was supposed to kill her. Like, so it's in
Right.
her best interest to stay hidden and
Sure.
and to just do these side missions because that's what she is at this point. She's an NPC. She's fucking, or you go in, you can do a side mission with Asajj Ventress,
Mhm.
and she's even the way that she's portrayed in these episodes when she does uh, interact with Ahsoka and is helping her, probably helping her because I think Ventress at this point realizes, much like Maul does later, she's a victim
Yeah, she's
of
a pawn.
she's a
in this
pawn,
game.
a victim of to these actions that she had no control over.
Mhm.
So at this point, like, she doesn't know, like, all right, maybe I do help this broad. She because we do have things in common, like or the
Right.
master's turning on us, and
And it's funny you mentioned that because when, you know,
Excuse
her
me.
and Ahsoka kind of cross paths, Ahsoka very easily convinces her to not turn her in for the bounty and help her. And I'm just thinking, like, that was really easy. She just basically said, hey, why don't you help me instead? And Ventress is like, okay. You know,
she's like, yeah, yeah. And you know what? I could get my money anyway, but let's see where this goes.
yeah. So I think maybe to your point that's why, you know, the fact that she feels that kinship there, even though, you know, they've always been on the opposite side. Quite frankly, they're being played by the same puppet master.
Right.
So, yeah. And we have some more interactions between Ahsoka and Barriss. Like, she calls her a couple times on, like, her fucking secret comlink.
Right.
And Barriss tells her, you know,
Look,
hey.
the little light blinks.
Yeah. Barriss tells her, hey, there's this warehouse on level 1313. You know, go to that, and that's where you'll find the next clue. Like, she refers to it. She's like, I found a clue.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm like, wow, and you fell for it. You idiot.
Yeah. So.
Like, oh, this entire time you didn't think of, like, hey, who's the only other person that would have known I was here?
Mhm.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
That broad that I've been banging. Okay.
Yep. And Ahsoka and Ventress part ways after they get to the warehouse. A mysterious figure who we kind of pretty much all know who it is at this point.
Right.
You know, attacks Ventress from behind, takes her lightsabers and her fucking Darth Vader mask, which, you know, she's been using that mask.
Honestly, it looked more like the mask that Kanan was wearing.
Oh, yeah.
That fucking shit. Nick and I were just talking about this. Fuck. Anyway, that's what it reminded me of. It reminded me of the mask that Kanan was wearing.
Yeah.
When he was blind.
Yeah.
Speaking of blind, did you see the conversation I've been having in the chat?
Oh no, I've been trying not to get distracted.
Oh.
So
yeah, how do blind people know when to stop wiping? It's not a joke.
I mean, same way we would know when. I mean, I don't look at the shit when I'm done wiping.
Well, how do you know you're done?
I estimate.
Really?
Yeah.
You leave something like that to chance?
Something like what? Like, what are the repercussions? Oh, I might have a little shit stain in my undies if I don't fully wipe. No, I'm not even gonna go there. So, whew,
I want you to be thinking about this later. I want you to be sitting on the toilet thinking about this. I'll bet you look. I'll bet you do.
No,
Most people do.
I won't. Anyway, so yeah, this person who attacked Ventress, took her mask, took her lightsabers, attacks Ahsoka. Pretty cool fight sequence between these two. It was stretched on a little long. Ultimately, this person subdues Ahsoka, beats feet out of there just in time for the clones to fucking show up and arrest Ahsoka.
Right.
And that's
falls just happens to fall into the level that,
where the nanobots are. Yeah.
Yeah. What kills me is at this point, why doesn't Ahsoka recognize that she's being like, she only took it at face value that red lightsabers and wearing the mask that Ventress was wearing.
Right. Yeah.
Why would Ventress still be wearing the mask? Why is Ventress suddenly so much shorter?
Yep. And she never talked. Right.
Yeah.
Ventress never shuts the fuck up.
Yeah. She's a fucking chatty broad. So she's going to fucking. Like that's what I don't understand why Ahsoka at some point was like, maybe that wasn't Ventress.
Well, and it seems like she's very tunnel vision through most of this.
I mean, when you're set up for murder, blah 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 blah, the one-armed man did it. Yeah, okay, that's fine.
Yeah,
I get that.
She just wasn't thinking clearly. Is what I'm thinking. So yeah, this episode ends with her fucking under arrest, a million clones around her, like she's fucking done. So. That's when we go into the final episode of this arc, episode 20, The Wrong Jedi.
Ahsoka Tano captured. While on the run to prove her innocence, Padawan Tano teamed up with the deadly Asajj Ventress to find the rogue Jedi who framed Ahsoka for murder. The Jedi Council sent Anakin Skywalker and Master Plo Koon to track Ahsoka down and bring her back to the temple. Now captured and imprisoned, Ahsoka faces punishment for crimes she did not commit.
Now, I was a little upset about this episode because they mentioned Plo Koon being part of the fucking search team. I was hoping we were going to see him and his fucking claw sabers in this because I know he has those because my son used to have his toy. Like,
right.
I never saw him actually use them in the show because it probably happened in episodes that we didn't watch. But I know he's got like fucking sabers that like attach to his hands like fucking claws. So
like Wolverine.
Yeah,
style,
exactly. Yeah, and I wanted to see that, but we didn't get to see that in this episode. So
I don't even know why they included him in this.
Really, yeah, he was
to
pointless.
babysit Anakin.
Yeah, but even so, like he was in it for like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
So he was
again. Let's talk about the hubris of the fucking Jedi, where they're sitting in a council. They have they got Tarkin fucking standing there going like, yeah, I don't think you guys can be biased, and we want her to fucking face a military tribunal, and you will do it.
Yeah.
Like, Tarkin doesn't give a fuck about what the Jedi want to do. And then when Anakin's like, all right, you're sending Plo Koon Matata, I don't know. When you're sending fucking alien face to go, or Predator. No, he looks like Predator, right? He's got the,
yeah.
Does he have some sort of respirator on all the time? Too?
Yeah,
he's
got that robotic voice and everything. Yeah.
He's got the Bane voice. He should talk like Bane.
That was good.
Oh my god. So, fuck, I've totally derailed myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, the point was, so the council's like, yeah, Plo Koon, go fucking, and you and Anakin go. And then Mace is like, yo, I don't think homeboys fucking should go. I think he should hang back.
Yeah, talking about Anakin.
Yeah, Anakin should
and
hang
actually,
back.
that was episode 19 when all this happened, I think. But we kind of glossed over
But we
that,
digress.
So, yeah.
But the reality is the whole... to me, just the Jedi not having control over the situation, like even within the own council, like
right,
the division between, even when Ahsoka was being originally like the Jedi Council in their fucking echo chamber, like saying like, you've been a bad person, person,
yeah.
Like,
so yeah, it was interesting too because when Tarkin contacted the Jedi Council, Yoda's like, hey, we're gonna put her through a Jedi trial and all this stuff, and that's when Tarkin's like, no, you need to expel her from the Order so we can put her on trial.
Right.
And ultimately, the Jedi Council acquiesces. They give in. They let the fucking Senate, they let Palpatine have their way. So, which just goes to show how much control Palpatine, the fucking Dark Lord of the Sith, has over the fucking Jedi Council. So, yeah.
Did you notice though that there's a portion of Palpatine's speech where it's like when they're right before they're getting ready to render the decision, and it was like, oh, he says things that are so fucking on point.
Oh yeah,
like he says it as the guy because he knows, because he fucking initiated it.
Yep.
But he's like, if we like, he just says something. I didn't write it down, but it was so poignant that like, fuck, the dude's out there fucking spouting truth.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
When he's talking about, like, all right, what the Jedi haven't been unable to do, and where if we allow this to stand, and the Jedi won't have any legitimacy, and blah blah blah, which is exactly what he wants.
Of course.
At the end of the day. So I just
So okay.
this hits on so many. There's hits on so many good notes.
So we're talking about Palpatine's speech.
Right.
Did you notice that his voice was different? Because I noticed it immediately. When Palpatine started talking in this episode, I'm like,
It was like deep. It was like,
it was different.
yeah.
And after the fact, I did some research. So, fuck.
Ha!
This episode marked Tim Curry's first credited appearance as Palpatine's voice after the actor Ian Abercrombie's death in January
That's
of
right, because the
2012.
beginning of this episode, it says in dedicated to
Ian Abercrombie.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the guy who had done Palpatine's voice up to this point fucking died. And Tim Curry, fucking the sweet transvestite from transsexual Transylvania himself, took over as the voice of fucking Palpatine. So, yeah, I noticed right away the difference in the voice. I'm like, that's not the guy who's been voicing him.
Yeah.
So
No, you could definitely tell. I would have never guessed it was Tim Curry though.
yeah, no, me either.
How do you fucking feel that phone call? Like, hey, I got a text from fucking Dave Filoni. Nice hat. Oh wait. Oh sure, I'll go voice some actors. Why not?
Well, yeah, Star Wars. Pretty much, like, unless you're just like a complete fucking retard. If your agent contacts you in Hollywood right now and says, "Hey, we want you to do X for Star Wars,"
It's not
like
even
a
right
voice.
now. That's like since
Yeah,
1977.
since it first movie
Hey,
came
Star
out.
Wars, I'm in.
Yeah, like
Son of a
you
bitch,
would
I'm
be
in.
a complete fool to not do that.
Yeah.
If nothing else, for the fucking residuals that you'll get for the rest of your life, because that's what being a member of SAG is, right? Every time that you're like, if you're voicing an episode of a TV show, or you're in an episode of a TV show, or you're in a movie, you get fucking residual paychecks forever
Yeah.
because of that.
And you get an IMDb credit that says you were in fucking Star Wars in some form or fashion.
I'm sure that's not their main driver, but sure, but that
I'll bet you
IMDb credit
at
is.
some point that's really what it comes down to. Yeah, the fucking SAG and blah 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 blah. But they fucking get to say, yeah, I was in fucking Star Wars.
Yeah.
Like, how does any other credit beat that? Unless you're the fucking sweet transvestite and fucking
Transsexual Transylvania.
transsexual Transylvania.
So
I was gonna start singing that, but then I realized I don't know enough of the words off the top of my head to do it. And it would turn into a Meatloaf ballad.
I was gonna
And-
plug the episode of Project VCR where we actually covered Rocky Horror Picture Show, but the whole podcast has been closed at this point. So I don't think,
has it?
Yeah, I don't think you can even get to our archived episodes anymore.
Huh.
So sad face.
Well, I'm sure you have the audio file somewhere.
I do, but nobody else does. So
Fair enough.
yeah.
Throw rice at you.
Very nice. So, taking a step back, yeah, Ahsoka has her meeting with the Jedi Council, which is this weird fucking
Yeah.
judgmental fucking cylinder room.
Do you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of something out of Star Trek, which really fucking annoyed me.
Oh, there was another allusion to Star Trek earlier in this that I wasn't gonna bring up, but their fucking holodeck. They had their own version of the fucking holodeck in the first episode when they were investigating the explosion.
Right.
Where they were redoing the explosion, and they were had all that, but this more reminded me of Superman than anything else. Remember the original Superman movies from the 70s and 80s?
Yes.
When it was, fucking Zod and his crew,
Uh-huh.
and they were all like encircled by the fucking rest of the Kryptonians in this judgmental fucking trial.
Yeah.
It reminded me more of that.
No, see, it's good. It's a good John Williams connection.
Anyway, so
All things come back to John Williams.
indeed. So yeah, that's kind of what I got. But yeah, again, the Jedi Council, they fucking acquiesce to what Tarkin wants, and they're like,
Yeah.
Ahsoka, you were removed from the Jedi Order.
Yeah. So and Anakin's standing in the background going you fuckers have already made your decision, haven't you? And Anakin being Anakin,
Mm-hmm.
and Yoda's like, yeah, we didn't come to this decision unanimously.
Yeah, which that doesn't fucking help, asshole.
Yeah, so which one of you are assholes?
Yeah.
So I can kill you later.
Yeah.
You and your fucking kids.
Yep. Which he does. Spoiler alert. But yeah, Anakin's like, all right, while fucking she's on trial, he picks Padme to represent Ahsoka in the Senate trial, and then Anakin fucks off to the underworld to try to find Ventress, which he does pretty easily. And because when she doesn't have her fucking mask, it's Ventress, right?
Right.
So he finds her, like, he beats the piss out of her. He fucking force chokes her, slamming her against fucking walls, like Jedi do.
Yeah.
So
Well, like Anakin does, for sure.
Yeah. And yeah, he immediately gets her to fucking confess and give him the story about, like, somebody took my mask and my lightsabers.
Right.
And then she mentions,
Let's face it, Ventress liked it. Ventress liked getting choked and fucking thrown around. Like, you got that.
Kind of like the Mandalorian chick did from Maul, yeah.
Exactly. He's like, just 5 more minutes. 5 more minutes, right? Whatever the safe word is. Like, safe word's fucking twins.
Oh my god. Ooh.
Sex points for Ventress getting force choked.
Fucking great. All right. So, yeah. So Anakin goes then to Barris's room. She's just meditating. She's like, "Oh, Master Skywalker, what's up?"
Oh,
yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah, you can come in. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Hey, go ahead and take my lightsaber. All right.
Yeah. Which it's a dead giveaway, right?
Yeah. I'm surprised she actually had an opportunity to, like, say words, because he walked in there, like, the way they animated him, like, he walked in there, took her fucking lightsabers, like, bitch, I'm gonna fucking stab you with your own shit right now. Because you're obviously the bitch that's got my girl in jail. So what the fuck? But lets her talk a little bit and fucking kind of like, I'm gonna pull these out.
Yeah, and then obviously she's revealed as the fucking person behind this. She takes Ventress's lightsabers, has a pretty cool back and forth with Anakin.
Yeah.
Where they're fighting back and forth. They're in the fucking building, and then they go out of the building. They had this one sequence where they actually go to where, like, some fucking, like, kids, some younglings are fucking, like, training with lightsabers, these, like, baby little lightsabers. And I'm fully expecting, like, as Anakin and fucking what's-her-name are fighting, like, the kids are all gonna, like, turn on her and start getting into the fight.
Mr. Skywalker!
Yeah, but they end up not getting involved. Ultimately, Anakin subdues her, gets her to fucking confess.
Yeah, he subdues her, all right.
I'm sure he does. But, they stop the fucking trial just in time, right before they're about to dispense the guilty verdict to Ahsoka.
All right, just enough fucking dramatic effect, like, do you have the verdict?
Yes.
Yes, we do. I'm going to hand it to you on a thing.
On my command. 3, 2,
3.5. Ah, see, just checking.
Yeah. So, yeah, obviously everything turns out great, right? The fucking green skin chick confesses.
Right.
Ahsoka's let off the hook.
Tell me right now, Barriss has got to be the hottest non-Twi'lek in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah. Oh, and
I definitely hotter than Ahsoka. Ahsoka's started off as a little brat.
Togrutas. Well, I mean, Togrutas in general, like with the big fucking whatever that shit is on their
too
heads.
Much, and the thing you're trying to figure out, like, because they call them Leku with Togrutas too.
Yeah, but they got too much going on.
I
up
can't
here
do it. But like the fucking the freckly thing with that's something
well,
about
those are like tattoos. Actually, they're not freckles. They're like face tattoos.
Hey, you have your fucking thing. I'll have my thing.
Yeah, no, but and if you play the Old Republic, that species, the Miraculous or whatever the fuck they're called, they're a playable species, and the female versions of those look pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
So
same.
yeah, you're not wrong. You're pretty close to the mark. So everything's cool in the gang, right? Hey, Ahsoka's free, right?
Yep.
We'll go back to the temple. Jedi Council's like, oh, we're sorry.
Yeah, shit. We should have trusted you, but hey, like Mace Windu with this. Well, these trials are fucking more than you would have gotten otherwise. So, yes, you've proven yourself a Jedi.
Yeah. So they're like, hey, we're all good, right? And Ahsoka's like, nah, go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
And she fucks off. She's like, no, I'm done. Yeah. I'm not coming back to the
We kind of glossed over it, like Barriss, or alluded to it earlier, but Barriss makes this fucking speech about how, like, she sees what the Jedi have become. They've become basically enablers of this war and not doing what they're supposed to be doing in the galaxy, and like that's why she did what she did. And it's just this whole thing, and there's like this shot of the in the cheap seats where the Jedi are standing, and you got Obi-Wan standing there like doing his beard rub thing.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's like the second time I've heard this in the past couple of days.
Yeah.
Think there's anything to this?
Right.
Nah, fuck it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, she was just saying what everybody else was thinking.
Yeah,
ultimately.
exactly.
But unfortunately, the council and everybody else, they're too deep in at this point.
Yeah.
So they're like, fuck, she's probably right, but we're kind of too committed to this.
What are we gonna?
You know?
We got this whole temple thing in the middle of this planet.
Right.
We kind of got to go with this.
Yeah. But ultimately, she tells him, yeah, fuck off. I'm out. And she leaves. And she's like, I'm done. And, we have this great moment where Anakin kind of follows her out, and, he basically tells her, he's like, I get it. There have been times when I have thought about walking away, and Ahsoka's just like, I know. And the question I had is like, does she know about Anakin and Padme at this point?
She
like,
has to.
That had to have been her acknowledgement of that.
Has to.
Yeah.
It has to be not only that, Anakin's like knowing, it's your master, right? Your master and Padawan. So there's had to have been a connection there with how he feels, how he does his thing.
Yeah.
His unpredictability, which comes we get a little bit more of later in season 6 with those last few episodes. So yeah, good framing of the sequence where you have he kind of she's walking away from him. He turns around and he makes a comment about I've thought about walking away too, and she's like, I know. And he kind of looks back at her, and she's like going, and you have this again. It's like this. She's coming down the steps of the with the temple, like in the background, but in the foreground is just like her walking off, and there's just like this beam of light almost where she's walking out.
Yeah,
and where it really gives you an impression like she's doing the right thing here. Like she's like, yeah, these fuckers didn't stand by me when they needed to, when they should have. And I don't know. I certainly can't trust them anymore.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously, knowing what we know now, her leaving the Jedi Order is probably what saved her life. Had she been part of the Jedi Order when Order 66 kicks off, she probably would have been fucking toast like all the rest of those Jedi.
Yeah. And spoiler alert, Ahsoka, the book, this is kind of like you're picking up at this point where that leaves off.
Oh, so the Ahsoka book picks up like at the end of this episode, pretty much?
Yeah, kind of. Like there's the Mandalorian stuff and things happen in the beginning, but the reality is like she has stepped away from the Jedi Order, and this is kind of the trials and tribulations after that. So it's good. You got to get on it.
I know. Trust me, I want to.
You have all those hours in the car, Jason. What are you doing?
Trying to stay awake.
So listen to a book. It helps me.
Yeah.
Like I find that I more so than music.
Yeah.
I stay awake if I'm listening to something and trying to like actually actively cognigate it. That's not a thing.
I don't think
that's not a real word.
I don't think that's a word. I appreciate the effort. It was good. But yeah, I don't think that's
it's a thing now, Jason.
We should make it a
out
thing.
There on the ether. Just like 55 wheat penny is now a thing.
Right. We need to make this like glossary of ATSW words.
We don't. I think we are probably poor people to do that.
Right.
The people that listen to us spout this nonsense are probably much better at it than
the Isaac Sipes of the world need to make a glossary of all of just the weird shit that we've come up with over time. But
holy fuck, it's almost
it's late. We've been going a while. So that is the end of this episode. Again, to the Bronco Fets and everybody else who said that we should have covered the Clone Wars a long time ago, you were right. We were wrong. We're stupid. You're smart.
They made the mistake of not telling us. Well, actually, no, that's not true too. They did say that like, yeah, it picks up at a certain point. And so we're like, all right, we're going to try. And then we got to a point where it was like, this is bullshit.
Yeah.
And this has been really good.
Yeah.
And as somebody who I've seen the end of yeah, fuck off, you're whipping and stirring. As somebody who's seen like the last 3 episodes, I don't know where we're gonna go forward from now because Friday
season 7, all bets are off at this point.
So I think that we have to maybe levy our focal energy on that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna be available Friday night.
Okay.
So maybe we do something Saturday.
Saturday, yeah, anytime Saturday, and then I can push it out that day, and then we'll be like pretty much on time with the episode release. But yeah,
All right, we'll do that then.
yeah, and like you said, it's been good. Like these essential episodes that we've been covering.
Yeah.
This is what I was expecting it to eventually be. Like when we started season 3, and it still wasn't at that point. It was still like a lot of the fucking dud episodes. So I'm like, where is this fucking great show that these people keep ranting and raving about? Because I'm not seeing it yet.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't until into season 4 through season 5 and 6 is when it really picked up.
Honestly, the stuff that kind of hit me the most were that last mall episode where Satine, whatever the fuck her name is.
Sabine's a different character.
Right. But also a Mandalorian, which just throws the whole thing off.
I know, right?
Yeah, Satine fucking, getting stabbed to death with the fucking Darksaber.
Uh-huh.
You got Obi-Wan, and how he doesn't fall off the precipice to the fucking dark side is beyond me. And then all this stuff with Ahsoka, why Ahsoka leaves the Order, why Ahsoka didn't get killed in with Order 66. It's almost like, how you wonder like, oh, how are they going to tie this up? Sometimes when you're watching a show, it's like, oh, well, this person's not part of the show anymore. How are they going to get rid of that person? And most of the time they fucking fail epically at it. That's so much so that you still have people that say like, oh, who shot JR was one of the like pivotal moments of fucking like, talk about dating ourselves, right?
Holy shit.
You like that. This to me is a completely legitimate and believable way for Ahsoka to have walked away from the Jedi Order. You're going to accuse her of murder. You're going to be involved in this whole thing, have one of her closest friends in the Order turn against her to frame her so that she could try and get the Jedi out of this fucking predicament, or at least make a statement about it.
Yeah.
And whatever. Barris's her master got killed, right?
Yeah, she got killed, I think, in that series that we saw on Geonosis.
So it makes me wonder, like, what her situation was.
Yeah.
With, like, who she was attached to as far as, maybe she was masterless. That's why she was fucking...
Well, she had another master who got killed in that explosion in the bombing at the temple. Because that's why she was at that wake.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, but I think... But, the fact that she's been kind of bouncing from, master to master, that's probably fucked with her head a little bit. Like a foster kid. Almost,
yeah, exactly.
So, all right. That's that, though. Next episode is for sure going to cover the premiere episode of season 7.
Yes.
If I can watch those last, 2 or 3 episodes of season... Last 3. If I can watch those in the interim, then maybe we can make it kind of a two-topic episode.
Let me put it to you this way. It's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't stress about it.
Okay.
Because I have a feeling that...
Well, and I know how it ends. I know how it ends with Yoda confronting the ghost of Darth Bane. Like, I've watched that scene on YouTube.
Yeah, that's very little part of it.
Okay.
To be honest, it's a weird, it's a Yoda-centric episode.
Right.
So I wouldn't waste a lot of energy. Like, if you have the time to watch those episodes, I mean, it'd be nice to have the continuity to see if they move something... They move into something with season 7. I have a feeling they're not going to spend a lot of time doing that.
Okay. So you think like the stuff that we've watched up to this point is the more
I think so.
Relevant like storylines and whatnot.
I feel like it is. I mean, there's a lot of episodes in season 6 that I haven't watched.
Yeah.
So I can't really say for sure, but I think we're... Oh my God. Donut.
I'm looking more at the Vulcan hand.
The Vulcan neck pinch?
Yeah.
Nah, stupid. That's much rarer where the shoulder meets the neck. Anyway.
So that's it.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I don't even remember what I was saying. I saw a donut. I haven't had a donut in since before Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I can't remember the last time I had a donut, quite frankly.
Yeah, well, you eat healthier than I did, generally speaking.
Though I gotta say, we have a Krispy Kreme like just a couple miles from here.
Oh, I
and
know.
It's
I'm well aware of where that Krispy Kreme is.
yeah, and it's very tempting. We used to go there every weekend, where I had to like cut that shit off. Like I can't have 350 calorie donuts every Sunday because it's gonna kill me.
Dude, I
So-
was at the VA the other day, and they had Deluxe Bakery, you know, the place in town, in my town.
Yeah, we've gone
those-
there before too.
Yeah. They had like boxes of donuts from Deluxe Bakery at the window as I was checking out, and they're like, "Oh, here, have a donut." I'm like, I can't.
Yep.
Anyway,
So, all right. Well, that's it.
Isaac, twice this episode derailed us.
I know, right? And yes, much appreciation to all of the potatoes and carrots and knives in the chat. So you talk about recurring bits in the show. That's we're going back quite a ways at this point. So oh, I meant to mention about the Escape Pod.
100.
Yeah, for their 100th episode, you know what we need to do?
Go to Michigan.
We need to go to Michigan.
Okay.
So when the Escape Pod hits episode 100 in about a year and a half,
Well, they're not doing it weekly. They're like
so in 2.5 years, when they hit episode 100, we need to go to Michigan. I think it's only fair.
I'm all about it.
So, but yes, check out the Escape Pod. They are on iTunes. They are on Podbelly. Check us out on YouTube. Please subscribe on YouTube. We need those YouTube subscriptions. And we need to pump out more content on YouTube too, but busy and whatnot. So, yeah, subscribe to us on iTunes, wherever you get your podcasts. Leave us a 5-star review wherever you get us on your audio podcast, please. And again, we will read your review verbatim.
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 Oh, we're in it verbatim.
But yeah, come on, help us out. We need some help. You know, we got a really good boost from Rise of Skywalker, and our numbers are starting to kind of trickle down again. So we need to kind of keep that momentum going. So come on, help us out. Help us out. Share us, like us, love us. You know, do whatever, but help us out, please, for the love of God. And like this video too. For all of you in the fucking YouTube chat,
I already harassed him once.
yeah,
and
we
there's
only
still-
have 4 fucking. Oh, there's one. Just as I was talking, we got another like. Love it. So, all right. Until next week, probably on Saturday, the day after the new season starts.
Yes.
Until then, Dave and everybody else, may the force be with you.
May the force be with you.
Shoo.
So one thing I noticed. Okay, now what do I click?
All right, now you can talk.
No. The problem is when I actually listened to it, because remember how I said I hadn't listened to what that sounds like, and when I listened to it, the outro music was playing
Right.
while I was saying it,
Yeah, I do.
so I couldn't really hear it.
Oh.
Like I couldn't hear how bad it was. Well, I know it's not very good, but the Orange and Fett show coming soon. Well, that would be cool.
Is that real?
That's what he says.
And what is this show going to be about exactly?
I think it should be Boise, Idaho, Letterkenny. Oh, why don't you give your balls a tug? I've actually seen some random episodes of Letterkenny. It's actually pretty funny.
I'm sure it is.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where like if it's not on, like so much of this just shit happens at work, right? Where it's like randomly like, oh, this is gonna be in the background.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, like today, like all of these Ahsoka episodes I watched earlier today because I'm like, fuck, I gotta watch these episodes before the show.
Yeah,
and
I
I'm
told
just
you
like,
I was doing mine I was watching it while I was doing fucking homework.
Yeah.
It explains why my homework's not done. It's like being a child.
I know. It's no fucking time for anything, man.
Oh my god.
It's like, you know, that was the thing about now that I'm going to the gym again or working out at home is what I'm doing. I've got my whole like weight set in the house. But like I go to fucking work, I get home, I fucking work out, and then I'm exhausted and my day is over. Like that's it. I go to bed, I get up, go to work, repeat. So like
rinse and repeat.
Yeah, like when the fuck do people have time for anything? It's this goddamn commute is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it really is. And
Like I'm losing 2 hours out of my fucking day every goddamn day. Fuck this.
I if I wasn't getting a significant pay raise to
Mhm.
take this GS position on the base,
Yeah.
I would not be doing it.
So, starting with our mobilization in September, I got a waiver to get lodging. So I'm going to be living on base from September to March.
Really?
Yeah.
Like during the week?
Yeah.
And then
I'll
driving
come
home?
home for the weekends. But yeah.
Weird.
Yeah. I'm gonna get on base lodging. I requested a waiver. We pushed it through. Um, based on mission necessity. I'm the NCOIC of this entire mobilization, 40 people, and I'm the NCO in charge.
Nice.
So I'll be handling all the personnel shit and everything,
Huh.
and
That'll be interesting.
we'll see how that goes. But yeah, we put as part of the justification, like increased hours, long commute. Even though I'm like technically within commuting distance, it's still a long fucking way away.
Yeah, it's
And
because that's what people talk about all the time. Like in Jersey, like, oh well, we get these California people to come from Travis all the time, and it's
Yeah.
like, oh well, I could drive if I drive for an hour, then I've gone this great distance in California.
Mhm.
Where in Jersey, if you drive for an hour, you could go fucking 10 miles.
Yeah.
And it blows their mind. They're like, yeah, I have a 55-minute commute,
Mm-hmm.
and it's 35 miles.
Yeah. No, I'm 30 miles, and it's like on a bad day, it's an hour and 15.
Well, yeah,
minutes.
because you're taking 295 too.
Yeah.
Broncos talking about goof around and talking about random stuff. Talking about random stuff.
I like it. I mean, hey, if you guys are you guys going to do like an actual podcast format? Is this just going to be YouTube? Like if you do an audio podcast format, we'll put you up on the All Things Star Wars feed, just like we did with the Escape Pod. So, if you're going to do it that way, let me know, and I'll put you on our feed.
I'm looking at the Old Town Road. Fucking.
The lyrics. I don't know why that was so fucking funny when you started singing that, and it was like one line too, but that was enough.
You knew exactly what it was, though, didn't you?
Oh yeah.
I don't know if I can get to Hank right now. Doing all the song. Yeah, I'm gonna take my horse to the Old Town Road. I'm gonna ride till I can't no more. Gonna take my horse to the Old Town Road. I'm gonna ride till I can't no more. I got the horses in the back. Horse tack is attached. Hat is matte black. Got the boots to match. Riding on a horse. You can whip your Porsche. That doesn't make any sense. I've been in the valley.
Oh my god.
I can't keep it up.
Oh my god. That's.
My life is a movie, bull riding and boobies, cowboy hat from Gucci, Wrangler on my booty. Can't nobody tell me nothing.
I used to wear Wranglers. Did you ever wear Wranglers?
When I was like 5.
Oh, yeah, I did when I was in high school. I went through a.
Oh, I'm sure I did in high
I
school.
went through
too.
a country phase. It was like all the fucking hot chicks at school were like, into line dancing and country music and all that shit. So obviously you have to.
Bull riding and boobies.
Oh man. Well,
I'm gonna take my horse to the Old Town Road. I'm gonna ride till I can't no more.
all right. Well, everything is uploaded.
All right, perfect.
You get the musical stylings of Hank. Oh my god, that was too good.
That'll be interesting to listen back on.
It's after nine though, so I think it's about time we wrap this up.
Yes, deuces.
Yeah. So thanks everybody. We love you guys. You are the best. And we'll see you hopefully on Saturday.
Saturday. Be there or be square.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, play the move.